there are times where it's like that, right? It's still really good, but
Yeah.
like story-wise, like I don't know. Most reverse stories just kind of have that aura to them. I don't know. Like it's hype. Like you kind of get swept away by like everything that's going on, and then you don't really actually come back to look at it critically until it's over. Doesn't mean it's not good, but
This is true.
yeah. And I guess we could start with In Our Time, which again is another one I thought was okay. I think this is, I mean, it's the first chapter. It's not like other than the prologue, it's not really that huge. We got some cool
Yeah.
things. Druvis was nice. I'd say it's a cool little three. It does its
Yeah,
thing.
Yep.
it's a solid opener.
Yep. Solid opening match. Solid, solid curtain jerker for the main eventers going to come. And yep.
Yeah, hype up the crowd a little bit.
Introducing
You know,
introducing the characters.
we have to slow
Big
it down,
Druvis.
We have to slow it down. You don't just get hot off the gate. You have to slow it down and let the let the crowd know who these people are and not just do moves like a fucking Canadian destroyer like 10 seconds into the match. So this is like
Blake Christian.
Oh God, do not mention that man's name in my presence ever again. I'm kidding. But yeah, it was cool. The thing is, the earlier chapters had such terrible localization. Like it was written so badly. Like it was just like it was a first time kind of thing because Blue Pocket never done anything like this before. So it was like super wonky, the Chinese translations and everything. So it came out like really bad, and then they went back and fixed it. So yeah, I think most people would agree that the first chapter, and I guess even while we're here, we might as well put Tender up there too. I think it's a cool little three, but obviously Schneider.
Yeah,
Me personally, Schneider's death was like a cool four because of Verton, but like as a character, I wasn't super attached to her. She kind of was just there to die, like really set the tone. Uh, basically tell the viewing audience that they're not fucking around and to lock in because what's going to come is about to be even crazier than this. Like this is just a taste of what we're gonna get. So at least that's what I thought. I mean, I don't know. That's obviously not what Mark
yeah.
thought.
yep. Yep. These devs worked me into a shoot with Schneider dying and I was completely devastated, you know, from the fact that a good little mafia girl, my very good little mafia girl who likes guns and shooting people, is now suddenly dead. And that broke my heart.
My question
So,
is, in our time, also include This Is Tomorrow, the prologue before chapter one. I mean, we might as well include it in there because, like, it's not really that
Yeah.
long and it doesn't really do much other than introduce the characters, and it has the same issues that that chapter one does. So I would say, yeah, I'd just group it in there with In
It's
Our
basically
Time.
just Verdon kidnapping Regulus.
which is like a 5, by the way.
This is
This is crazy.
crazy.
Bro wants to see
She's your
Regulus
wife
tied up. Bro wants
too.
to see Regulus tied up instead of Marcus Fair's demon. Now, this Newell's, I was so surprised when I heard you say when I heard you say that when you ranked Newell's worst, which I was like, how? And then you told me that you
That's
didn't
crazy.
remember any of it, and I'm like, okay, again, how? That's like a Batman fan not knowing who Thomas and Martha Wayne are. Like that's like a Spider-Man fan who doesn't know who Uncle Ben is. Like, what do you mean you forgot everything about this chapter?
Yeah, uh
Yeah.
Mark
Um,
Schneider is my Isabella in the Ring.
but,
Yeah,
That
that's
traumatized me for a good while.
fair, yeah, fair. Just sending a
And
ton of kids to fucking die.
and then Tuesday out of nowhere in Haunted Highway just brings it back up. Be like, hey, remember when your friend just died? I was like,
Well, that's what
what
you
is
get
that
when you mess
for? Why are
with
you
the tier
doing
bits,
that?
bro. That's what you get. That's like her biggest regret, right?
Yeah.
So naturally Tuesday's gonna. Don't worry, Schneider.
Yeah,
We
she's
played
like
it once. I
scarecrow.
cannot wait to play Silver Palace, man. That game looks so fucking good. I mean, I
Yeah, I
do not need more.
pre-registered.
I was like, I don't need more gotchas on my plate, and then that shit came out, and Maya Meltdown came out. I'm like, fuck! I'm screwed, bro. I'm in the pipeline forever. I'm never going to escape.
Well, are you still playing Enfield? Are you still playing Enfield? Or
Low
did
key, I kind of
you
fell off, but I might come back for the new character. What's her name? Loreno or something? Like she's hot, so I might come back for her. She also has
Fair.
Spears?
cool combat animations too.
Are you still playing Wuwa? Are you playing
Yes,
Wuwa
I'm
still?
still playing. Well, I haven't logged in a while, but yes, I still play that game.
Yeah, part-time woo.
I'm still going through I'm still on the Augusta's story. Not her character story, but like the part in the main story where they delve into her. I quite like. I mean, I love Lupa, so like Lupa's story beforehand was like was fucking fantastic. So like Augusta, I haven't been as engaged with Augustus as I was Lupa's, which is part of the reason why I haven't been logging in as recently, and also because of the pain of not being able to get Yang Yang. But it is what it is.
Oh man.
I'm waiting for Amieth because I already have Mornier and Lene, so I basically have her team built in already. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. She could be rerunning right now, and I just don't fucking know. But yeah, back to New Wells.
Yep.
I mean, I liked Schneider. I knew what we were going into because of her death, but this was like where it really was like, fuck. Oh, they're gonna go there. And to know what her origin story is, does put a lot of things in hindsight. Like, why was she so fucking torn up about Schneider even though she knew her for all of fucking 5 minutes? And it's because it reminded her of her trauma with her friends. So it's like, yes, this puts a lot more retrospective onto Verton's character and makes her so much more sympathetic going forward. Like this is where I feel like we really as
Yep.
a story we really got to connect with Verton on
I
a
I
visceral
remember
level.
yep. I remember when I said that, I didn't remember anything. And that was genuinely what I thought. So I watched it back. I watched it back on the time that we discussed it. And yeah, I felt like a super duper dumbass for not remembering any, for
Yeah,
not, for not remembering. But Verton's origin story is where, things were escalating, escalating to. We are not yet into main event territory, but
This is like middle of
we're
the card, like, oh wow.
we're getting to the IC title, son. We're getting to the
Yeah.
Intercontinental
would this be
title.
like top of a cool little would this be like top of cool little 3 or would this be like bottom of 3.75?
Bottom of 3.75.
Okay,
You
okay.
know,
Yeah.
it would be like a 3.5, but that doesn't exist. So I'm willing to bump it up to like the bottom of 3.75.
This is
I mean,
also like the first chapter where you really start to like see the foundation for what it is.
yes, I
Because
was
until
just
then,
about to
it's
say that.
just
Yep.
been like oh, they're the generic good guys trying to stop the bad guy agency.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, they gas children on their own campus. They are not
Yeah.
the good guys in the slightest.
Yeah, that shit was crazy, dude.
Like it's because like up until then the Foundation had just kind of been this entity that Verton works for, and it being
Yeah.
the source of basically all her repressed trauma really makes you see things in a different light, and you really understand Verton throwing herself into her work and where her more stoic demeanor comes from, right? And And the reversals, I would say, are more impactful than Schneider's was for very obvious reasons, but like but also because like they recontextualize her death actively as a reminder to Verton of like her pain, right? And even in that, you still can't condone Manus Vindictae because I mean like they literally hate us, like us humans, like they want us to be genocided and mass wiped out. So it's like yes, it's the Foundation fucking sucks, but at the same time, like the villains of this game
It's the
actively
better of
want
two
us.
evils.
Yeah, the villains of this game actively want us dead. So I was like, I'd rather side with the guys who want to keep humanity alive than the magic Nazis. That they're basically magic Nazis, right? I mean, I think we can all agree
Yeah.
that that's basically what they are. Uh, but I think Oro
Fair.
is definitely a 3.75 TV main event with a hot crowd. Like
Yes.
Oh,
like
for real.
such a
Yep.
fucking great story.
Yep.
Like if you told me this was penned by writers that were experienced in writing political thrillers, I would not be surprised. Especially given this is like the first chapter where Verton is entirely out of the picture, and yet I would say it's better than chapters that have her as the main protagonist because it kind of emphasizes that her presence is just as impactful even when she's not there. Like it really locks in how important of a figure she is. And it also kind of underlines the fact that yes, the Foundation do suck, but they're still the quote unquote good guys because you have moral people in that organization. You have Verton, you have your Madam Z's, right? You have your Sonatos, and you have your Pedras that do actively want like a kind of peace between arcanists and humans. Like I think this chapter is just a big flex of how well all their characters are defined because they all do have sound internal logic to a degree. It's like it's like the main event scene when Roman turned face. Like everyone had a point. Punk had a point, Seth, Sammy, Drew, Jay, they all had motivations and they all had logic. They all had logical reasons for their opinions and everything made sense. So that's why it was so compelling to watch them all bounce off of each other and and really you're really forced to grapple with the fact that everyone here has a stake in this. It's just like it's such a great chapter. Like it's not reaching the highest highs, but like at the time this was the highest high, right?
This was um this was the main eventer of its time, and it paved the way for for more intricate stories afterward. So I appreciate this political thriller a lot. And yeah, this is a 3.75 if I ever seen it.
And it's the world building too. Like you get to learn so much more about the bureaucratic aspects of the Foundation and how it works and how low key it's like really fucking it's real probably really fucking annoying for people who just really want to get shit done because of how much they have to pass through. It's not unlike any other government in this world. And the fact that they kind of call back to it being a game, like the same way that they played chess in New Wells between Vernon and Constantine, that shit was so fucking gas. Like the ping pong scene, iconic, iconic.
Yep.
Like I remember Gom, I told you about that in DMs. Like be prepared that for that. They make ping pong actually like super epic and nail biting. I remember
They
telling
like
you that.
synced up the music with like the back and forth, and it was like kept speeding up. I was like, ugh.
You're ripping your shirt off. That's quite lit. That's literally running through a wall. Like that is a 3.75 TV main event because the crowd's hot. Like the hype is real, and like
Definitely.
the fucking the Soneto debate scene was fantastic. The final verdict with the stones counting, it was so fucking cool. Just like in general, everything was just so fucking gas. The way they structured it, and it also kind of it does in a way foreshadow 1.4 because of how similar it is to how the Appearanites vote. So it's like it's genuinely the whole package. The only thing that's keeping it down is that there's stuff better.
Yeah.
And now we move on to the events. Um, honestly, like I would put I would put the first two in Cool L3. Like I
Yeah.
liked Rimit Cup, but it's super messy. Like it's all over the place. There's lots of lingering plot threads. Uh, things just kind of happen, and they happen for the sake of happening, even though it is pretty funny. Uh,
It gets carried by the vibes a lot.
yeah. Like Milani's a great character. Pickles is a great character, but like other than that, it's kind of like a big jumble. And I also just hate Diggers. Fuck that guy.
Oh, we all hate diggers.
Woof woof. Woof woof. Woof woof. Woof
Yeah,
woof.
yes,
Woof
that's right.
woof.
The
Woof.
lore.
The
If you guys
puppies,
didn't know,
please.
Pickles was in Mark's top 5 for a good while. It was very funny.
Woof
Bro was
woof.
in love with that fucking dog. It's crazy work.
Even
Woof
like
woof. Woof.
the two times Dylan played reverse, he like loved pickles.
Yeah, he picked Pickles on the what was it? The timely
The free six
reinforcements.
star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, I will die for this dog. I trust this dog with my life. Like, yeah, you know what? It's fairs.
We love pickles.
He's a
Woof
lot of
woof woof.
fun.
Woof woof. So yep. So sorry. Pickles took over me, but he said that he agrees with you. No, he likes the good little three. It's a very fun story. This is like the megaton of
That's
The
crazy. That's a
megaton is
crazy.
insane.
That's an insult to Rimit Cup, bro.
I like
you
megaton,
know
but
I would, you
let's
know what?
not let's not be harsh.
I think Joe Hendry is a more apt comparison.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's cool. He
This
does
is
his
like
thing. He's from the UK,
the
but like compared to the
fears.
others. And also
So
Melania is
yep.
like the first like neuron activation moment I had as a reverse player. Like, goddamn.
Real.
So I would also put the spooky story, the Green Lake story in like 3.
Me too.
Yep.
I would,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd put it over Rimit actually because I think the emotional core is
Yes.
stronger. Like Blondie and Jessica, like just in general, I think Blondie was the core of the story. A lot of the characters revolved around her. Not in the sense that like they have to without her they don't function, but like all of the most emotional arcs do come from her. Like her friendship with Jessica, her kind of like pseudo mentorship with a Tooth Fairy, like it kind of all revolved around her, which is kind of crazy to me that she's the 5 star, but it is what it is, right? Like she was
I
definitely
did
the
like
character who glued the story together.
I did like how Blondie is like this first example of someone being an arcanist and like not really liking it. She tries to be like a human for
Yeah.
a lot of her life, but because of all the stuff happening at the lake, she kind of has to like ditch that idea and use her powers to like save the day and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I I wish Tooth Fairy did more, but then we got her in London Dawning, so it's not like
Yeah.
that much of a loss. Jessica, they did kind of lock down a little. I felt that she had a lot more potential. I liked her being I liked the twist I liked her being a twist villain, but I feel like there was a bit more that they could go into with her. Although I haven't played her character story, so I can't really say much about how they
It's
characterized her.
it's basically her like trying to learn empathy and like how humans act and how to not be like evil, basically. She's kind of a blank slate.
Yeah. And I also liked the fact that she was like she's like a fig she's literally like a figment of imagination. Like she was created by Blonde. And
Yeah.
I like the idea of like the of her like obviously all she ever really knew was like Blondie's obsession with horror. So like she saw like putting everyone into a horror movie as like a way of like showing like friendship and love and what have you. And in the end, it's like she's kind of she and Joe are kind of similar in the way that they like they have good intentions at heart, but they go about it in a really terrible way that fucks over everyone around them. Unfortunately, they didn't have a horrorpedia at their side to kind of like point out all the tropes and be like, yo, this is what she's doing next. It's classic horror rules. And and I think Horrorpedia is a great character too, just because of that. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's the guy that he's basically the audience in every horror movie. He's like, oh, this is the part when this happens. He's like calling out all the tropes. And he actually ends up being useful more often than not.
So he's like the Kevin Owens of the
Yeah.
team, where he actively watch like he actively knows what environment he is
He
in.
actually watches the show. You know, he actually loves the business. This is what we do. You know,
Just gone. Can you
this is
explain
gonna happen.
about the ranking meaning? So we're all wrestling fans, so this is kind of like a scale based on how wrestling matches are rated. So it's kind of like an inside joke where like in all honesty, it's not it's actually similar it's kind of similar to how movies are rated. Like it's the same star ratings and everything, but it's kind of different. It's like this odd little it's like this odd little dichotomy where like yes, there are matches that are like that are like really good that just don't reach that super high gear but are still really good. Then it's like a 3.75. And like matches can be helped with like how much a crowd is into it or like the overall environment, the aesthetic, uh what the wrestlers actually do, like whether the feud between them is like like you actively believe that they hate each other. It's like it's those things like that that kind of like add up, right? So that's what we're comparing it to in the sense that not all there isn't one that's like actively dog shit, like really fucking bad, but there's just really good and then there's less good, right? So it's similar to that. And while we're on the subject, I think more Punk's at 3.75. I quite like this story on rewatch. I feel like I underrated it massively
Yes.
uh initially watched it. I I didn't really I didn't I guess I don't know. I don't know what exactly was keeping me from connecting with the story beforehand, but in hindsight looking back at it now, a lot of its themes are very important to what to the stuff that Reverse would eventually become, like letting go of the past and moving on and what have you. Like you have KB who's kind of like stuck into this you have KB who's kind of stuck in this inferiority complex to Kumar, right? That was her mentor. Only to discover that Kumar's like a complete shell of her former self. Like everything that she once thought was great about her has now been reduced to ashes, and she's now this disheveled bum just living in fucking caves and shit. And ultimately, in the end, like she kills herself. Well, not KB. Kumar kills herself because she has nothing else left to live for. And then you have Shemaine, who's like I mean, I don't think I can explain it any better than Appear Knight did in his uh Some of One Suffering video because that video is fantastic. But he's essentially this man whose whose empathy stemming from his own trauma and his own mistakes uh help kind of guide KB out of her inferiority complex and show her that she can be her own person. And I think he definitely was he was my favorite part of the chapter, but I think Kanjira was one of the most important characters. A lot of the a lot of the emotional core is also centered around her, and I really it's like the thief with a heart of gold thing, like with Aladdin, like Aladdin type, and she also her and Matilda are hilarious together. So,
Oh, they're a great duo.
and speaking of Matilda, like this was the first real chapter where we got to see her just kind of where we got to see her kind of be her own person. Like before she was just kind of orbiting around Soneto, but now she kind of gets like other than the crystal ball scene in chapter 4, like we really get to see her actually shape up and do her thing and grow as a character. So it was really cool seeing that. And it's great because she shows up in later stories down the line where she does get to be her own character. And I've been saying this. I think Sonata deserves a similar treatment where she just kind of has her own adventures with her own background cast of characters, get her away from Verton a little bit and see who she actually is. So maybe I don't know. Maybe they're testing the waters because they did say there would be an alter coming on the way in the 4.x series, and they heavily alluded it
Yep.
being Sonata, which it really
Yep.
has to be. It
If
should not be anyone else.
if we don't get a 6-star Sonetto by like 4.5, we are cooked. The whole thing is cooked. But yeah, we need a 6-star Sonetto by like immediately because, as you said, she needs more time. She needs more story time away from the crew that she's always with. And I think we need to explore her as a character more rather than just being Vertin's sidekick or assistant, you know. She needs a
Soneto's
single.
best moments are like when she's faced with something that challenges her beliefs, and I think we'll talk about her more later, but I think Sophia is like the perfect foil to Soneto.
Yep, 1000%. I've been saying this before. Sonetto gets her own story. Sophia has to be the villain. There's literally, I cannot see I cannot see another villain for her other than Sophia, especially since she hasn't gotten an actual story where she's the villain. Like
Yep.
fucking Stranger got a story where she's the main villain. She's not even Manus, and so like it would be really crazy if she never got a story. We'll talk about her more later. We'll talk about my personal belief that she needs to die. I do not ever want to see her playable, but well, we can get into that in a bit. But speaking of Sophia, Prisoner in the Cave. This one I'm a little split on. I do like it quite a lot. I do think it's TV main event tier. But at the same time, I don't know. There's just something that's kind of keeping it like out of the 4 range for me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Hmm.
Wow. So I'm on the completely opposite spectrum because I think this is like the first story in the 4.5 tier because
Really? Okay,
yeah, this is
keep explaining. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you.
so this is like the first story in my 4.5 tier. Realistically, I would put it in the middle of these two, like 4.25 if there was a
Yeah,
tier
yeah.
like that. But since that doesn't exist, I would like to put it in the bottom of 4.5 tier
Mm,
because the story where they start to explore the logic and the mathematical numbers and how much that logic and operations affect the decision making and the fate of the
true.
prisoners in the cave is like is like a really fucking cool concept to me. Like 637, like even 210, that number 210, that that sets the tone for a future fiver that I have in like Variant Cent. Spoiler alert, I have Variant Cent at 5, but Yeah,
I
that's
think
it.
it might just be me not having rewatched it in a while, because I definitely think it can improve and benefit of hindsight now that we know so many of the things. Because yes, I do agree it's definitely a thematic stepping stone where a lot of the ideas
Yeah,
presented on Apiron do come up in other stories. So yeah, maybe you guys are right. I think I just need to rewatch it.
I feel
that's
like
like
bottom of 4.5 because, like Mark was saying, it's like sandwiched in between like three other fantastic chapters. It's kind of just it
Yeah,
sets
that's
up a lot
true.
of stuff, but the stuff that follows it is just incredible.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I do like 37 a lot as a character. It does not surprise me at all that she's probably the most popular character in the entire game. Like I remember I sent the Chinese that one Chinese social media site that was doing like gacha awards or some shit, and 37 was up there with characters like Hu Tao and Firefly, who are some of the most popular, widely acclaimed and beloved characters from their respective games, which those games are far bigger than Reverse. So it was super surprising to see 37 like on that tier. So yeah, I think though I do think 37 low key. Okay, not carries, but she's definitely like the MVP of this chapter. Like 37 is such a great character. Love to see her again eventually. Especially if I mean which should happen. Sophia should show up and she should be a more prominent villain and she should be uh like opposing our heroes at every turn, and I would absolutely love to see a second confrontation between these two in the near future and how emotionally charged it will end up being if they nail it right. Like it's like a match that it's like a dream match that you want to see happen. Right? It's like Gunther Ilya 3. Like this is something that everyone's been waiting for. Everyone needs to see happen because they know it'll be great. The 37 Sophia reunion with how their characters have evolved since they last separated. But yeah, there you go. It's our first sexy 4.5, even though it's more, I guess, in your guys' eyes, a 4.25. Is that right? And then now we have my least favorite chapter.
Yeah.
I can't lie, man. I'm not saying it's bad. I just did not.
yeah,
I would revival of the Uluru games was not my thing.
yep.
It was not for me. It I'll
Let me
give it
just
some
do it.
credit. I'll give it some credit.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that it does. There's a lot of great ideas that it presents that I will give credit for. I really like Spath and Ezra have a fantastic dynamic. I love those two together because I really like the fact that it explores on a grassroots scale the relationship between humans and Arcanists. Like they're very racist towards each other, and I really liked seeing that play out on a scale that isn't massively political, as in like it these prejudices and preconceived notions aren't determining the fate of the fucking world like it is with Foundation and Manus. Rather, it's just a human and an Arcanist who are at odds with each other because they see each other as a human and an Arcanist rather than Spathodia and Ezra, right? They don't really see each other as anything other than a monolith of their respective races. And as a result, as they grow and get to know each other and become friends, it's a lot it's a lot more it's pretty heartwarming to see that, especially in this world. Like the racial conflict is literally why the world is fucking falling apart. Like Storm aside, the human arcane clash is like the biggest conflict in the entire game, and like the storm's just kind of being used as a tool to exacerbate that. So I really liked seeing it on like the smallest scale possible, like just between two people. The rest of the story though is just kind of oh, and Medicine Pocket shows up in it, so it's automatically
Yeah, automatic downgrade.
So it feels disrespectful to put it in the John Moxley tier, but
yeah.
it seems, it seems like we have no choice to put it in the John Moxley tier. We need someone in the John Moxley tier,
Someone has to take the
and
fall.
because Medicine Pocket shows up there, that's like the final coffin there. That's like the final nail.
Yeah,
Put
maybe you're right.
Uluru,
Maybe you're right.
put
Someone
put
has to take the
Uluru.
fall. Welcome to the
I feel
Death
like it just
Riders.
yeah, I feel like it just tries to do too much. Like it's a racial conflict, but it's also the Olympics, and also it's Verdun going on vacation. And it's just a lot of different things put together, and they don't really connect all that well.
I will say the
So you're
3.9
saying,
does improve on
yep,
this. It's basically a better
yep,
revival.
yep.
Hmm.
So you're saying, Uluru is like Blake Christian, you know,
Okay, no, that's way
but
too mean.
good.
No, 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 no,
That
no, no, no,
that's
no.
that's slander.
That's just
That
being an
slander
asshole.
is.
No, that's evil. No, 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 no. No. No.
Because like
No.
they're saying they're trying to do too much. They're trying to
You
look
know what I'll
cool.
compare it to? You know what I'll compare it to? 2026 Will Osprey. It does way too much.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
it's in control, it kind of sucks, but there's a lot of great
Okay.
things that I know, like the concepts, the things that it can do under a more, under a more experienced wrestler, or in this case, like writing team or what have you. I know it can do great things, and we're seeing that in 3.9. But yeah, right now it's just like in its current state, it's just kind of uh
Fair. And then the association with John Moxley in the end, Medicine Pocket is involved, so it just goes down the drain. Just goes
true,
down.
true. Now
Fairs.
for notes on Shorty. I I was surprised to see how many people like actively dislike this one. Like a lot of people think this is John Moxley tier. I don't see it, but I do think it's like I think it's like a high 3.5. Like, well, let me just sort these bad boys around to in an actual order, and then yeah, there. Yeah, I thought notes on Shorty was pretty decent. I really liked the story when it first came out, but maybe that's just because I was too like uh there wasn't much better before. And I just really like Joe, man. Like she's such a sweetheart, and it sucks to see what like ended up happening to her. Like she just kind of misunderstood uh what it meant to like actually go out and help people. And as a result, she kind of fucked everything up for herself, right? Like it's a road to hell is paved with good intentions type thing, right? It's she was taught from birth to mimic the gods and use her powers for good, but since she was never taught exactly what that meant, more or less like she's more or less like a kinder like a little kid trying to learn how to use her powers, right? It's like, oh, the G needs to get home faster. Well, I'll turn her into a horse so she can gallop home. It'll be faster than walking. Like that's basically her mindset. So even though her intentions were like pure as can be, she lost the trust of basically everyone she ever loved, which really sucks. And her redemption was a lot of fun to watch. And just in general, I think Joe absolutely the heart of the chapter because Gutien basically just aura farms the entire time like a fucking beast.
This is one of the few chapters that I have the one of the few events that I have not finished yet, so I don't have a whole lot to say about it.
Fairs, fairs.
This is the first I believe I think yeah, this is the first appearance of Erd
Yeah.
officially. Cuz she shows up in Varen Samt later, but this event takes place a little bit before that.
Yes, I do remember her being what's her name? Besmert, right? That the one with
Yeah.
with the hat. Mark, I remember you really liked her and Yenisei. I think Yenisei is a very underrated character. I feel like because she technically joined the squad at the end, but like we haven't seen her since.
Yeah. Yenny, I'm very sentimental towards her. She was like my first decent healer that I ever got. So I'm very thankful for her.
Fairs, dude.
Guys, I'll be out for a bit. I'm eating lunch at the table, so I'll be
Fairs.
out
That's fine.
for a bit.
Oh,
It's
wait, that
like
sucks
12
because our
p.m.
next one is
Yeah,
that.
so
Oh,
before
that one.
Yeah.
so before I move on, before I go downstairs, I'm at the stairs right now. So I'll get my thoughts on Elusive and Lestelle.
I think we can all unanimously agree that this is a
Uh,
Yeah,
very
Queen
clean,
Queen
very
ethical
ethical
fiber.
5-star match.
this
Easily.
is the
Yes.
I
five,
think we
Yes.
can all agree. I think we can
This
all
is
agree.
the first article 5 of this tier list because Elizabeth Lestel introduced two of my wives, Isolde and Kakanya, and the psychological aspect of that, with Kakanya being this pure, you know, just good-natured therapist being tortured mentally by her friend or her client, Isolde's constant mental breakdowns and constant demon fighting her demons is just very awesome. And Isolde's Isolde's battle with trying to not be um, consumed by her past and her mental depression is like one of the best one of the best things that this game has ever done. This is one act play is still top 5
Yep, in my
episodes.
Rushmore. In my Rushmore. I'm literally making a video of
Yeah,
it. So fucking good.
one act play. One act play is like this is what do you call this? If I compare this to a wrestling match, this is like the Gunther or Gunther Orton or like the fucking Zack Saber Jr. versus Brian
Oh my,
Danielson.
yep,
You know,
yep, perfect.
this
Yeah,
is
man.
perfect. It's like way ahead of its time in the story chapter thing, but it sets the tone. But it becomes the standard. It becomes the standard of what a reverse story should achieve. It becomes the baseline. If you're not as good as this, you're not in the top. You're not cream of the crop, The writing, the characterization of the relationship between Kakanya and Isolde, you know, she's trying to fix Isolde from her mental prison, but in the same way, Isolde is breaking everyone, including Kakanya's mental wall, and makes that dynamic alone makes this a 5. Kakanya's monologue in One Up Play is like, whew,
And like on
I'll let
top
you
of that,
explain.
bro, on top of that is fuck. Okay, I'm gonna come right out and say this story actively made me quit the game for like a week because I needed time to process what I
Damn.
had just fucking went through. Like, there's no other story that has done that. This is the only one that's ever actively made me stop playing because I needed time to actively like, what did I just watch? And it's like you like stories like this just don't happen where every fucking metric of the media quality meter is just cranked up to 20 and it creates this mind-blowing gem whose sum far surpasses the already astronomical parts. Like we already explained how great Isolde and Kakania's dynamic is, but like there's then you go to Marcus, right? And her inner turmoil and her being the I mean, there's so many characters you could argue is the heart of the chapter, but Marcus is my pick because of just everything, like her relationship with Greta and her own inner struggles as a new fledgling investigator, and just like everything, like she went, like the reason she took up that job was to go and visit Romania and the orphanage that she grew up in. And it's like, man, uh, okay, like before we actually get into Marcus, there's something I do want to highlight. This is the first reverse chapter, or like this is like the pinnacle. This is the pinnacle, or one of the pinnacles at least, of the game's voice acting. Every actor in
Yes,
this
yes,
chapter
absolutely.
crushed every single line. I don't think there's a single bad performance in this entire, even the background characters. I don't think there's a single bad performer in this entire thing. Like, oh my God. Kari Wong as Marcus is my favorite voice actor in the entire favorite performance in the entire game, because of what she brings to the table in this, and then in other chapters prior. And also she's Filipina, so it's like, fuck yeah, uh gotta wave the flag. But at the same time, it's like like I was not like I didn't this is like the most emotional I had ever heard any character in this game, like, at all. And it was just so fucking visceral and incredible, and you really felt for her. And it's not even just her, like Ella Jones Farlinger as Isolde is spectacular. The fact that they went out of their way to get her, because she actively, one, she actively speaks German, and two, she's an actual opera singer. So the fact they went out of their way to get someone with that, repertoire, having that criteria for this character, shows that they really give a fuck, and it showed in her performance. Like the Tosca performance, that was her. Like that was the actual actress. That they weren't getting somebody to do her lines and then getting an opera singer to do. No, no, that was actually her. And the pain, the insanity, the collapse of her mental psyche, like everything just playing out, and she sold everything so fucking well. It is just insane to me how absolutely incredible that she was able to embody this character. And like it's one of the reasons why she's so beloved. I don't think they would have I think they couldn't have gotten a better actor. And I guess the last person to highlight, I suppose, is Aiden Dawn as Kakanya. And like, though I think she's kind of like the lowest out of the three, that doesn't mean she's not incredible. Like, she absolutely kills it too. Like the steadfastness, the courage of Clara, the earnest need to really just want to do something good. And then it all kind of collapses because she realizes that those same ideals were, the ideals of the magic Nazis. And as a result, Isolde kind of becomes like her living karma, in that she is the representation of her ideas actively taking lives, actively going against her morals as a medical professional and as a person. And the while it's not as pronounced as the heartbreak of Marcus and Isolde, it's still there. Like you can still feel that sadness. You can still feel that, the betrayal, that everything she had ever fought for was naive, and it was doing things that she never would have dreamed. And it's just so fucking incredible. All my homies hate Heinrich. Yeah, man, fuck that guy. That
Well, Heinrich can burn in hell.
Yeah, man, that guy's a piece of shit. But like it's the same. It's like with Medpok, right? He's a great heel. Like you really, really do just fucking hate this guy. He is he is somebody you actually just want to see die, and then when you see die, it's like a moment of
It's so
celebration.
cathartic.
It's a moment of catharsis, but then right after, you're actively like forced into seeing Greta die, and it's like I don't even get to enjoy this game. What the fuck, right? And obviously Greta's great too. Her mythos as a character only really grew after she died. Like we saw like her monologues and her journals and all of that stuff like after she died, like in the Star, like, and that's like the first real info we get about Adler, and how like he almost drunk himself to death and all of that sort of stuff. And obviously in Last and First Principles that kind of comes full circle, and that we finally get to see how, this affected Adler, because before, like, we didn't really know, even in Varincent, we didn't really know how deep their relationship went and how much she actually meant to him. Like we saw that more with Marcus than we did with Adler. So in the end, in Last and First Principles, we finally got to see that come full circle and really have Greta solidified as like this legendary character that, her memory will serve as her memory will serve as one of the defining forces that push other characters forward going forward. So, but yeah, Els is the cleanest five the game has ever put out up to this point. It is I don't I think honestly I remember there was this one Reddit post I made where I asked what was the moment that got you into this game, and like a good 75% of them were from this chapter. Like this was the chapter that changed everything, and I can personally attest to that myself. Like this was the chapter that made me go like, this is another fucking this is a fucking game I need to keep playing. Like this is it. Like this is the this I have to keep playing this. Like I have to keep playing this, even though I technically stopped playing it. I have to keep playing this. This is a game I'm gonna play until it dies.
A conversation that we have to have is Else or Cosmic Overture? What
I mean, I
do
think
we have
Cosmic.
you?
I mean, we'll save that for later. But
Yeah.
spoilers. I think Cosmic Overture is the greatest story in the game ever. But it's kind of it's really tough. If if it weren't for a certain other story, Els would be two. In my top five. But yeah, now that we've raved about this fucking masterwork enough. Now we move on to Farewell Ryashki, which personally I think is a low four, or not a high four, low 4.25. I quite like this story.
I'm not very familiar. I'm still playing through Notes on Shiori, but I love Vila. Vila is like she was one of the first characters where I was like, whoa, hello. And she's never really moved out of that spot. She's just very wholesome.
I think you'll
And
really
then,
like her story. It's great.
yeah. And then, of course, Windsong is very cool too, from what voice lines I've heard from her.
I think Ryashki as a story is one of those stories where it's like it's one of the stories where you're kind of torn away from uh the Manus Foundation conflict, even though there are vague connections, like with how Zeno is sponsoring their town. It's ultimately it's ultimately a story that focuses on this like select group of characters that it's very intimate with you, and you do come to love these characters over the course of the story, and it kind of makes you forget that all this storm bullshit is like even happening. Like it does bring a light into the lives of these people, and kind of shines a perspective on them, in which, like, yes, this world is super fucked, but everyone's still trying their best. Everyone's still chugging on, and everyone still loves their home, and they want to save that home. And it's something where it's a nice breath of normalcy in the lives of this crazy fucking world where everything's falling apart at the seams. It's kind of like a nice little break of respite. And it kind of, to me at least, it was one of the stories that established that Reverse as a game tells its best stories on the smallest scales, in that,
Absolutely.
like, at the super grassroots level, separated from all of the conflict, like, the stakes are small, but they feel big because you love these characters. And it's not even like entirely useless in the lore, because these events also end up causing ripple effects, causing waves in the pond that end up affecting the big events, and vice versa, right? They affect each other. So it's like this cool little interconnectivity where ultimately every single thing that happens in this world matters to an extent. And Ryashki was one of the first stories that really cemented that. So I would say, yeah, while it's not as good as the other ones, I'd say it's a high four, low 4.25. I think you guys will really like this story if you haven't already played it. Like it's kind of like the precursor to future stories when they come along.
we will be seated.
But then like right after that, you have fucking Very
Oh
Sand.
wow.
Yeah,
This is
man.
another 5.
I have to agree. I as a this is like this is everything an ending should be, really. Like nearly all of the
Absolutely.
loose threads that were in all the other chapters get tied up. All of the characters kind of like this is like their Avengers. Like all of this is the first like major crossover between like all of the factions, the Apieronites, Laplace, Xeno. Like this is where we first see Igor. This basically set up nearly everything to happen after while also giving a very worthwhile conclusion to everything that happened before. Like everything was working in tandem and everything was like all coming together in this really beautiful way. And like all the characters that you've grown to love, they all do remarkably change. Like this is where we first see Adler in action and Ulrich in action. Obviously Igor before. Uh, this is where we see Sophia's kind of like fall to the dark side, where it's like her and 37 are basically like Anakin and Obi-Wan, except like imagine if Obi-Wan was the chosen one instead, and then 37 kind of plays that role, where it's just like, man, you hate to see it, but you also like you can't help but love it because it makes total fucking sense. It makes so much sense. And obviously like you can't talk about this chapter without talking about Himne Bakum. Like that is if there that would be a Rushmore scene for me if others hadn't come along and snatched its place. But like the fucking mass Apeironite suicide combined with
Oh,
Clara being unable to save her fellow Austrians, her people, is just so fucking visceral, man. Like that shit just eats at you. It's this dichotomy where you see people reveling in the storm, gladly dying in its waters, and then at the same time, literally the exact same time, in the exact same scene, someone who is doing everything she can to fight against it and ultimately loses. Like it is just so fucking heartbreaking to see that come to pass, and you really get a sense of how much of a tragedy this storm actually is. Where yes, in the end there was loss, there was a lot of loss, but it was also a small victory because the knot does end up working, and the equilibrium umbrellas are created. The knot is named after Greta, who died in pursuit of it, who without her sacrifice none of this would happen. Like yes, it's a big loss, but there's so many, but all of the small wins add up, and they all eventually lead into big wins in later chapters. Like, man, this chapter is so fucking well done, dude. Fuck.
all of the 1.x chapters up until this point have been about finding some kind of way to not beat the storm, but just to like resist it. And with the knot and the umbrella, this is like the culmination of all that. It's like, yeah, a lot of people died for really no reason, but it's one step closer to finally ending the storm once and for all. I think it's a very good high note to leave off on.
Yeah. Just man, it's so well done. Like I struggle to really think of an ending like other than On Another Sorrow, which I do actually think is in a way in a few ways better. Like there was truly like a level of hype and a level of like first time exposure to the insanity of it all that really does elevate like it does like it's literally yeah it's literally the hot crowd, the nuclear crowd, where like it's just a complete experience. You're just enraptured in it because this is like your first time seeing anything this insane. Like that really does put it up high, man. It's so good. And with that, our last 1.x story is done, and now we're moving on to the twos. And I mean, this might just be my like bias speaking, given I'm from the Bay Area, but I I cannot help but put Floret, the Golden City, as a very sexy 4.5. I really like this fucking story just so much. Like it's like it has a sentimental place in my heart because like after like this was the first event story I had ever played. This was like a point in my reverse career where like I knew nothing about these characters. Like I just kind of pulled them to pull them. Like I was like I logged in, I saw sexy disco lady, and I'm like, need give now, and I pulled her.
Bears.
Uh, and it was like, I didn't really know much about her. I didn't know much about Jay either. I thought he was sick, even though I skipped him, but I have him now, which is great because he's OP. In the coming gonna be OP in the upcoming patches, but this was one of the first stories where it's like where I personally was able to see a a more grounded take on the game other than like besides Ryashi, which obviously I couldn't play because I had missed it. This was one of the stories where this was the first real story where I got to see outside of the major like super conflict. Even though yes, there is Manus presence. Manus are the main villains of the story, but you get to see it on a smaller scale and the familiarity it being set in San Francisco, which is where I was born. It was really fucking cool. And man, the some of the scenes do really fucking hit. Like the I wish we never met is such a great scene. Like I don't think I wouldn't put it up on the Rushmore, but I can definitely see why people would have it. It's just so damn good. Like you really do feel for Jay, and he's very much a sympathetic character that is the heart of the chapter, and you do want to see succeed. He's just such a bro. Like he's definitely somebody you'd love to be friends with. Matilda is the I wouldn't say protagonist, but she's definitely important, and I like that they kind of dropped her into this environment that she's totally unfamiliar with to see what she would do. Again, this is something I feel like they should have given to Sonetto, but I like that Matilda is like Matilda got to have her own stories where she's her own character and she does her own cool little things. And she is really funny in this chapter. Like she's such a riot, and her and Jay's like little brother, big brother, little sister relationship is really fun. Unfortunately, I think one of my big complaints is I wish Mercuria got to do more. Like she's great. She's great in this chapter, and Sophia DeLucci does an incredible job as her VA. But I just wish she had more to do. Like we know that she kind of orchestrates the entire plan to take down the Manus, but I feel like it's kind of insane that she's canonically up to at this point she's canonically the only person who's able to completely resist the mask, and just nothing has come out of that. Like the mask literally did jack shit to her. Like even Miss Stranger struggled with freeing herself from the mask, and that was also on top of like mountains and mountains of fucking phototax's memory wiping bullshit. While Mercuria was just able to put it on and literally nothing happens. I wish we got more out of that because that's like you'd think that isn't something they would ignore, but it is what it is. Eternity and Nala's cameos were great. I kind of like Nala being more of this villainous presence in the chapter because she had been locked up in the fucking robot for so long. That's like she's like hungry, she's bloodlusting, like she wants to kill is in her nature now, and it's kind of an interesting setup because when we see her again in Trista, she's actually pretty nice, which a lot of people didn't like. A lot of people were pretty mad that Nala's characterization kind of fell off a cliff, but I feel like between this and Tristes, there is Haunted Highway, where she kind of displays a more human side.
Hmm.
So I think there's a bit of it's odd because I remember people were kind of complaining that the event stories were massively detached from the main story chapters. So what they instead decided to do was make chapters like Haunted Highway and Last Evenings on Earth that had the team and had it to connect to the main story chapters, but because they're
Yeah,
events,
they
right?
feel like story chapters on their own.
But yeah, but because they're events, like they need to be rerun. Like people who've missed shit, like who missed the event, they
Yeah.
miss important shit that happened. So it's like you don't have really any context unless you decide to go and watch it on YouTube or like watch a summary by another YouTuber, and I can see the complaint. They kind of it sucks because that's like it's only really because it's a gotcha game that it has to suffer that way. But I think in the end, like it was ultimately a good decision because it was a test run and eventually they figured out how to really they really nailed it with 3.x on how to connect events to main stories. So ultimately it was a good decision. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have played Floret yet. I love it.
It is the most recent one that I have not finished. I it was rerunning when I first started playing, but that was also the same patch with Cosmic Overture, so it
Yeah,
was kind of like
fair enough.
you
Yeah,
you
fair
gotta
enough.
wait.
Fair enough. Yeah. That's definitely that's definitely something that you would put it aside for, but like if you find the time, do go watch it because it's great. As
Yeah,
for Big Haunted Highway, I must confess it's been a long time. So I can't really say like from when I initially watched it, I kind of had it in 3.75 territory and I still kind of stand on that now,
yeah,
but I have not watched this in so fucking long that I really can't make a super objective objective take on it. I really like the old-timey comic book aesthetic. That shit was fucking awesome. Uh, I don't the character I remember the most is Argus actually. I think Argus from what I remember, she was kind of
definitely.
the core of the chapter in which she's kind of this she's trying really hard to be this invincible bounty hunter that everyone believes her to be. And as a result, she keeps like her substance abuse as a result, she has substance abuse problems with the Picrasma candy. And like this struggle be for her to be unable to face well her fear, right? uh and that ultimately ends up being her well, I guess you could say downfall in a sense because she isn't able to conquer she isn't able to conquer her fear the way Vertin did.
Yeah, I love Argus. She's such a unique character in the sense that she already has like this problem that she's well aware of, but she actively doesn't want to do anything about it to fix it. It's kind of just something she's accepted. It's like, well, the only way I can help people is with my arcane skill. It like drains my energy like immediately, so I need to use the candy. And if I can't use the candy, I can't help people. But at the same time, it's like slowly making her blind at the same time. So she's a very interesting character for me. And having a whole chapter centered around fear, I think, it's a very cool idea because it lets you explore a lot of deep seated trauma that a regular chapter can't really do. Because a lot of stories they have to like move forward. There's not really a whole lot of time to look back, and one of the better ways to do that is through like dream sequences or hallucinations, and we get a lot of that with Tuesday, who's a great villain.
Yeah, I think Tuesday is from what I remember about Tuesday. I remember more about her character story than I do about her in the main story actually, but the tragedy of of what happened to her family and how she kind of abandoned who she once was, where she thought that the only way to conquer fear was to become fear. Like she kind of the motel kind of bends to her will now because she's successfully, well, I guess I wouldn't say successfully, but she she takes on this moniker where she now is the one in control. And if and fear, like she still feels fear, but because fear is at her command, she gets to kind of like ignore it in a sense. And it's in the same way that she kind of like they her and Argus do mirror each other in that way. Because ultimately both of them are running from their fears. Tuesday just chose to face hers and as a result literally conquered it. She is fear now. While Argus is still running from hers and as a result it's slowly like robbing her of what, you know, what is it's robbing her of her own power. And I think that like kind of contrast between the both of them is really cool.
Yeah.
Also, my biggest fear is Liang Yue kissing me, which is why I'm going to Tuesday's hotel right now. Anyway,
True.
okay,
Yeah.
Big Tristes. Uh,
Ooh.
a lot of it stinks that a lot of people don't like this one, and it's honestly kind of lame as to why. When you actually look at why people don't like this story, it's because there aren't like actual like Brazilian characters. And to that end, I do kind of understand. It kind of sucks to not have a Brazilian character in the Brazilian chapter, but at the same time, it's not like an event story that's focused around a specific
Yeah.
event like this just happens to be in Brazil. You can dead ass just plop this in any other story, not any other story, any other country, and not much about it would actually change. Like you still have Nala's arc of self-actualization. You still have the tragedy of Lopera and Igor's betrayal. Like there isn't really much that would actually change had you flipped it and put it in a different setting, so I don't really see why that's such an issue. But as a story, I do think it's good. I do think it's good. It's just that it does after all it has to do so much heavy lifting because 2.x as a series is so much more ambitious than the previous one. Like it has to do so much to kind of set so many things in motion. Like you have to do the Igor betrayal. You have to do Nala being set free. You have to do the reveal that that people who get stormed are not physically killed, but rather reborn as like a different person entirely. Like you have to do all these things, set up all this shit, and as a result, it does get pretty jumbled and a little difficult to follow. But I still think it's a very good story at its core. There's a lot of ideas that it establishes, and it definitely does benefit a lot from hindsight. So I would put it
Yeah.
around I would put it here too. Like
I'm back.
around here. Hello, Mark.
Yeah.
We
I'm
have
It's
back.
one of those foundational chapters in the same way that Prisoner in the Cave is. It sets up a lot in the future.
mhm. And it just has a really cool it just has a great cast. I think that's one of my favorite parts of it is the cast. There's a lot of cool there's just so much cool stuff that all the cool characters are doing. Like obviously, you have Burton, you get Lilia getting more of a spotlight, and you get Sotheby kind of getting her first major character moment with Mr. Duncan, who's also a lot of fun. You have Lopera, who's absolutely the heart of the chapter, and then you have Nala, who we've kind of seen have this really wonky like development where she's like now she's kind of like this woo baby where she's like not super murderous anymore after I guess kind of getting it all out of her system and kind of seeing firsthand what Manus after being under Manus control for so long, she's now like kind of free to do what she wants now. So she has more of a she has more of a happy personality now that everything that has been weighing on her is finally free. Uh her chains are broken and she can now, be her own person, which is something that is just a general theme of the 2.x series, but like Nala is one of the first few characters who actually we actually get to see, that in action where she kind of establishes that. So, yeah, I quite like Tristes. Mark, what do you think about Tristes now that you're
Um,
back and can actually say stuff?
so I believe actually that this is the most underrated chapter in the reverse series.
Mm.
So okay, let me just find another place. Wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a that's a pretty hot take. I feel like a lot of people would disagree, but I'm curious to see as to why you believe that.
So this is my most underrated story in the reverse series. I'm very surprised that a lot of people hate this, but as you mentioned before, this my favorite part is the ensemble. This is before other stories took it over. This was my favorite ensemble in the game with Igor, the familial dynamic alone with Igor, Ptolemy, and Moldir, and Lupera being the black sheep of the family, and them just being left to deal with the problems of Igor being a betrayer and the familial consequences that that has on them as people is what makes this good for what makes this great for me. Personally, this is at the middle of the 4.5 tier,
Mm,
but yeah. And also, let me add to that the soundtrack, the
true, the
OST, the
soundtrack is
music of
very
this.
good. Goodbye, Escolas
The,
Yeah,
Perdidas.
definitely.
the music in this is like a vibe to me. I could play it all day and I would vibe to it. So, and also the Sao Paulo landscape of that adds a lot, even though there isn't a Brazilian character included in this. So
We really
that's
should do
what
like a
makes this.
we really should do a music ranking tier list eventually where we rank all of the patches based on their soundtracks. That would be really fun.
Yep. So
That's definitely something we'll do down the line. Uh, because there's so much good fucking tracks in like all of these. Like I did
oh
not mention
boy, I'm seeing
Alucha
what's
von Lest
next, brother.
Alucha von Lestel, fucking the boss themes for Alucha von Lestel and Notes on Shori are genuinely they're both top five. Like my eyes and bewildered heart are so fucking good. So good. Like so god I cannot praise those two themes enough. Marching March from Rayashki is also incredibly good. Uh Speaking of incredibly good, Chronicles of Uluru's
Uh,
London Dawning. You know what? It
yeah,
would be
Mark came in at the
Yeah,
perfect
Mark, take
time.
it away. It would be
Oh,
sacrilegious for me to
oh,
speak first for
brother.
this story.
Oh, son, son. Yeah. Where do I even start with this? How do I even begin? Okay, so you guys know, but most of you guys don't. But I will say this here: I am a disabled person. I don't have a working right leg due to a cerebral palsy diagnosis. With that in mind, this story is the greatest thing that has happened to me in my reverse chronological life because Willow alone has painted my story, even though that she is not. Blue Puck doesn't know who I am. Blue Puck is not personally attached to me, but London Dawning just paints the depression and the hardships of being physically limited as this wonderful challenge and how these problems continue to stack up on you mentally and how having friends like Flutter Page, how having those Flutter Pages in your life, you know, those bright, those bright little lights that first seem to annoy you but are just there to keep you going. The relationship between Willow and Flutterpage is very reflective of how much I love you guys, how much I love both of you. PGD, Gollum, Storm, you are my Flutter Pages. And the Black Swan scene, along with the floor ritual being completed, is it's not the best. It's not the best in terms of writing, but the emotional weight that that got onto me, that makes it above a 5. That was like a 6. That was like a 10 in my personal eyes. So Willow is like my favorite character in this game. And I will be forever indebted to Blue Puck for writing my story without even knowing me. Because I know that Willow is a reflection of what I'm going through every single day. and that makes it really good. That makes it awesome. That puts it above the rest in terms of me. So that's my promo for today. So, yep.
I mean, shit, man, I can't say I disagree. I think the way they did Willow's depression is genuinely one of the most tasteful depictions of the disorder I've ever seen in honestly all of fiction. The self-deprecation and the isolation, like it's even implied that she has bulimia. You guys do know what bulimia is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't know what bulimia is,
Yep.
essentially it is an eating disorder in which people attempt to uh control the image of their weight by like essentially purging food out of their body, trying to force themselves to throw up. And they keep thinking that, they're not beautiful enough, that like it's just not going, it's just not working. Like it's just really terrible and self-destructive. And it really does kind of put into perspective the a lot of the pain that she has gone through and the way she was raised. It's just such a it's just such a visceral depiction, and how it really encapsulated a lot of those aspects of depression that people both know and don't know, and that aren't really talked about that often. They approached it with so much class, and I genuinely, like, in this day and age, even in this, especially in this day and age where people like treating mental disorders and shit like that as like fun, funny, trendy bullshit. They use it to uh get away with doing bad things and committing immoral acts. Like, approaching it with such finesse and such respect is genuinely something that I cannot look past and not acknowledge and not applaud. Genuinely, it is just so fucking well done. And another reason why I really like this story is that it's very much a hope core story. I've always liked when Reverse has stories that just have so much hope and love and togetherness in them, because I always felt that was the main message of the game: unity in the face of destruction. And you see this again on a grassroots small scale, which is where I think Reverse does its writing at its best. Like, you have all of the entire the citizens of London, all of them coming together to really build the qualifiers up again after everything gets fucked over by the smoke machine. Like, all of these people uniting in, again, the face of darkness. Like, it does ultimately have the same message of the Uluru games, right? Come together, right? A unity between Arcane and man. And this is where we really see it at its most distilled, because as much as the first Uluru games tried to do it, it kind of fell apart due to story execution. They didn't they had a bunch of characters, and as a result, they didn't really focus on what was the best part of that story, which was the dynamic between Spath and Ezra, even though it did get the most focus, but it didn't really get the focus that it deserved. London Dawning, on the other hand, gives Willow, Flutterpage, and even Tooth Fairy, like almost all of the characters, really, like they all get a lot of fleshing out, and they all get a lot of time to kind of show what they are, who they can do, or what they can do, and what they're fighting for. So yeah, man, I personally, I've got this at like a 4.75, because uh it doesn't reach the heights of my favorite stories, but like objectively, it is genuinely one of the best stories to come out of this game. Like, at least to me. So yeah, man. Well, I man, I'd like to put it up here just as a courtesy. But I also kind of want to put it top of 4.5, because I feel like this a clean ethical fiver should be like really reserved for the actual like pinnacles, you know? So what do you guys? I mean, I already know what Mark thinks, but Gollum, what do you think? Hear
I'm
me out.
leaning 4.5. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
top of 4.5.
yeah, I think this is like a 4.75, honestly. Like, I mean, hell, I think it's like further. I think this is genuinely like a 4.99. Like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think it doesn't reach the heights of like of like an L's. So
Yeah.
I would say yes, it's like a top of 4.5. Very very good story. Very very good. But now we're on to an interesting one because I was actually I only recently found out that a lot of people had a lot of issues with this one. This is Last Evenings on Earth. And there's a whole story surrounding this chapter that at least among our little friend group, uh and again it also has nothing to do with it has not almost nothing to do with me. So if Mark, if you're able to take it away, but if not, I can explain everything because there's a story behind this chapter, man.
Take it away, brother. Take it away. You you got this one.
Fairs. So to start, when Mark first started playing this game, he really did not like Regulus. Like he hated her guts. He thought she was annoying and lame, and like he thought actively thought she dragged down El Oro. And like we were kind of like, why do you dislike her so much? And it's like I guess he thought about her the way that he thought about Medpoc. And then as time went on, in the mini chapter, the star, I think it was, like he started to like at the end of Varen Santh, he kind of like eased up on her. Like he kind of had this realization, like, okay, like she's not that bad. She's still kind of she's still kind of annoying, but like she's not really someone deserving of all of my ire. And then came Last Evenings on Earth, where, at least in my opinion, she had the most compelling arc out of the four characters that got an arc. And I think one of the reasons why I rate Last Evenings higher than a lot of other people is because I place so much importance on the strength of the character writing when it comes to this game, because I like when the character writing in this game is at its pinnacle, it's some of the best writing I've ever seen in fiction. So regardless of all the like issues with the pacing and what have you, and the actual story structure itself, I rate it higher because I think the way that they intertwined four separate characters and all and had and kind of pitted their arcs against each other in a incredibly foily way, that in which all of these characters helped each other grow in some manner, and all of it happening simultaneously, I thought was masterfully done. You had Barcarola and Fatutu, and then you had Regulus and Ulrich. And obviously Barcarola and Fatutu is the obvious one. Like Fatutu loves her home, Barcarola does not. Barcarola doesn't understand that home is like home will always be where the heart is, no matter how much he dislikes it. And Fatutu learns that home is wherever her people stands. And it's this kind of they kind of help each other realize that, in which Fatutu kind of brings Barcarola, and as a result, Barcarola brings Fatutu to this kind of mutual understanding. But I think the best, how I think the best part of it was how well done Regulus and Ulrich was, because Regulus at this point in time had only ever been like this goofy comic relief character who kind of just popped in to make jokes, and only occasionally did things to kind of change the narrative. But eventually, in this story, specifically this story, Regulus really does manage to shed a lot of that comedic skin. A lot of the aspects that made her a goofy comic relief character were utilized to give her the depth that she kind of lacked, in which she abandons the selfish, impulsive nature that she once had, uh, which isn't really that much of a huge character trait as much as it was a medium to tell jokes and goof off. They took that and they made it a kind of vehicle to give her a kind of come to God moment, where she realizes that while yes, she can stay who she is, she also does need to change her ways. And ironically enough, it's staying who she is that makes her change her ways, in that she finally realizes that, like, you know, she loves rock, but she's got to play in the band. She's got to be part of the band, right? She has to stop hogging the spotlight for herself, and stop being the front man, and let everyone else play, and it'll make her better. and she comes to that understanding under the tutelage of Ulrich, who, in the aftermath of Lucy getting fired, like him and Adler are like scrambling to pick up the pieces. And as somebody who never really was in such a position of high authority before, Ulrich is like he's trying his hardest to be a good leader. And it is and that's how they help each other grow. And Regulus shedding her selfishness and learning to work as an actual part of the team for the first time, and sacrificing the things she wants in order for the benefit of her friends and the fucking world, because her friends are trying to save the world. And Ulrich, who's kind of learning to put aside his like abrasiveness and his lack of people skills and his preconceived notions that awakened in humanity will just never understand each other, and learn to actually be a leader, somebody who can take charge and somebody who understands his people. Like a ruler, a good leader puts himself last instead of putting himself first, and Ulrich had to like really come to terms with that. And it was by kind of like, I guess, taming Regulus in a sense that he kind of got that he got that impression. He had to learn to work with her. He had to learn to adjust to her eccentricities. He had to learn how to uh, take her for who she is rather than what he wanted her to be. And as a result, Regulus changed. She became somebody who is reliable. She became somebody who wanted to, who wanted to help, right? She actually decided to do research as a Laplace researcher for the first time, and it's just so well done because up until this point, she hadn't really been anything other than a joke machine. So to give her that depth through that, I thought was just so fucking well done. Like, it's easily the best part of the chapter. Is that I would say, like, purely on that alone, I would say Last Evenings is definitely like a high 4.25. Like, I think it's great.
Yeah, it's my personal favorite of like the trilogy of London Dawning, Haunted Highway, and Last Evenings on Earth. It's my like personal favorite just because of how well it's able to tie into the main story, but also take its core group of characters and have them all like grow without having to like overshadow any of them at all. It has like a core set of themes throughout the whole chapter, and it really sticks to that until the very end. Um, like Barcarola's big arc is she left home because everyone like wanted to play the violin there at Cremona, and she wanted to do a lot more than that. She wanted to learn every instrument, which is how she made the crackling box. So she just got absorbed into playing music that she never really got the urge to go back. And when she meets Fatutu and how she's so passionate about her home and her family, she has to kind of like come to terms with the fact that maybe going home isn't a bad idea, but rather like finding your own home and finding your own family among the people that you meet along the way is really what's important in life, and not going after just what you want. It's about everyone else in your life too. I really like a lot of the arcs in here, Barcarola especially.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just I love when Reverse is able to really flex their character writing, and this is one of those times where it really does do that. So I'd say I'd put it at a high. I'd put it around here. I would. I'd say
Yeah.
it's a cool 4.25. Okay, Folia Derason. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Uh, but I mean, come on, guys. Come on. You know that even if you disagree with me, I am not going to listen to anything you say, and I'm just going to leave it there. Like I mean, fuck. I, it's I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. I I guess I'll start with the major reason is this chapter made me cry, and this is the only chapter that has ever made me cry in the entirety of this game. Like even Cosmic, which I think is the best one ever, did not make me cry. This is the only one that has ever made me that emotional. It is my subjective favorite. It is the story that, if I were to tell someone why I play this game, this and Cosmic I would point to, but more so this, uh, because, well, it just means so much to me personally. Like, if you people who have been watching the channel, and obviously all my friends in here, they know how much I love this story. They very clearly know how much this means to me. Showdown in China, like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna put aside my sentimentality for a second because that's honestly a whole nother video. But as an actual fucking story, Showdown in Chinatown is goddamn perfect. I genuinely can't think of anything that it does actively wrong. All of the characters are incredibly interesting. All of the characters function as moving parts in this incredible machine. This this great mystery buddy cop story that juggles so many different incredibly complex themes at once and sticks every single fucking one, hits them all out of the ballpark. It's like, man, dude, you there just isn't. I really can't think of a story that just has it, other except for it's a wrestling thing where it is just like, somebody has everything to succeed. This story has it. I can't really. There's no other way I can really describe it other than that. Like, fuck. It's so hard to talk about, like, off the dome, because there's just so much I want to say, and there's so much I want to get out about this. And I mean, I guess we'll start with the obvious. Liang Yue is my favorite character in this game. This is wife, this is bae, this is my everything. I would die for this woman. There is this is the 2D woman that I would place myself in front of a firing squad for. There is so much that I felt watching her story. There's so much that I related to, being this, there's the expectations of being an Asian child, the desire to uphold the family name, to make your parents proud, the uh the fact that she grew up idolizing heroes in movies, and that's where she got her sense of, like, justice from. That's where she saw her burden. That's when her burden became a blessing, when she realized she could be the hero everyone wanted. But in the end, ultimately, like, she's still not acting out of her own accord. She's still trying to fit herself into this role. She's still trying to be this person without ever actually taking a choice in the matter. She actively says, "Why do my opinions matter? Why does what I feel about it matter?" Like, she actively tries to ignore who she is and what she wants because she feels that her duty is to be this hero, to fight evil, to banish evil. She is Yue of the Liang family. That is her destiny. And through all of this, it's why Changliang ultimately abandons her. Changliang abandons her because, well, it's not her choice. She didn't choose to wield Changliang. She was forced into it. She just took it on the chin. And ultimately, that's why he comes back and he sacrifices himself for her, because it was when she actively made her choice, her first real actual fucking choice, to be that hero out of her own accord. And that's just something I admire so much about her. This burden that was placed on her to be this hero, to be this progenitor of the Liangs, or not progenitor, descendant of the Liangs. Like, it's hard, right? It's fucking hard. But instead of instead of running away from it, she ran towards it. She chose she chose to be that person. She chose to be the hero. In spite of everything, she was forced to be the hero by her family. She was forced to be the hero by the movies she grew up watching. But in the end, when she was given the choice to run away, when she was given the choice to make her own decision and walk away from all of her responsibilities, she chose to run towards them. She chose to be the hero that she was initially forced to, but this time it actually means more because she decided she was going to do it for herself because that was what was important to her. Justice and righteousness and fairness, that was what was important to her above all else. And that's something I fucking resonated with so goddamn much because a lot of times, I'm sure all of you can relate to this in all honesty, sometimes we don't feel like we're the ones making the choices in our own lives. And in spite of it all, those choices, we still want these things, even though we don't act, we're not the ones deciding we want them. We still want to run towards that anyway. We still want to choose to bear that burden and be that person for other people. And that's like one of the main things. That's like probably the biggest thing I love about her, aside from her everything else. But it's not even just her. It's Noir and her story the I mean, honestly, this is something that can be taken care of in a separate video because the noir aspect of the story is a lot more personal than I can really unload in one off the cuff stream. But yeah, Showdown in Chinatown is a fucking masterpiece. I am not hearing otherwise, but I doubt any of you disagree with me on that front because it's in all of your top fives.
Yeah, it's as far as the event chapters go, it's number 3 for me. It is very good.
Yep, yep. This is like this was your London dawning moment, and it's well deserved. I kept waiting for playing it, and it was anticipation well spent. But overall, it was a cool little streak. Cool little streak.
You you
Just kidding.
cannot you cannot rage bait me.
Cool little streak.
You cannot rage bait me. I just emotionally unloaded. You cannot rage bait me. I am all out. I am all out of emotion this man.
So this is just above Uluru. This is just above Uluru.
It's
You
not
know,
gonna work, bro. It's not gonna work.
fair.
You
But
wrote
in
an
all
you
seriousness,
wrote 2 articles on this story. It's not gonna work, bro. I know it's not gonna work.
Don't lie to
in all
yourself,
seri-
man.
in all seriousness, it's a 5. It's a 5. You know, it's
I
a
mean,
top
it's
3
in 100
story.
in all honesty, but no, I'm kidding. But I have it
Yeah,
at 100, bro.
yeah. This is your London dawning moment in my terms.
It
So I get
is.
it. I
It
get
very
it.
much is. But even if it wasn't super personal to me, it is. Like if I actually look like putting aside my bias, I actually look at the writing quality and everything else. Like it's still absolutely still a top five. It is so fucking good. The VA performances, the music, the aesthetic, the boss design. My God, Chi Ching's boss is just so good. It looks so good. Like, oh man, yeah. Five, six, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, fucking a million. But but tier list wise, Showdown in Chinatown has to be the cleanest, most ethical fiver yet since L's, easily. Uh, anyway, Folie à Déraison, man. There's somebody in here who actually just finished this story. If you have any raw thoughts on it, I'm open to hearing them.
I love it very much. It just became my favorite chapter, at least within the main story. I love Recoleta. I love Aleph. There's some moments in the game that kind of like, or in the chapter that kind of like got me like, oh shit, what the fuck happened? And I love the music. I love pretty much love everything about this chapter. So yeah,
For I remember first reading this just being dreadfully confused. And then there was this one Reddit post that kind of like really did put it into perspective where it outlined a lot of the references to the Latin American literature they were paying tribute to. And then upon rewatch, because I rewatched everything in uh, preparation for 2.8, this story just rocketed up my fucking tier list. Like I mentioned before while talking about Tender is the Night how Schneider was made to be an example of things to come. And while Reverse's writers are no strangers to giving us like really direct statements through their stories and characters, I think this story out of all of them is like the most genuine. I think it has such a heartfelt confession as from the writing team, like an outward statement, an authentic heart to heart as to why they incorporate these elements because of what storytelling actually means to them, like giving us the most insight into why they do what they do. And and I also ended up reading like the works, like the actual works itself that a lot of this story was based on. Like I read Foucault, I read Borges, I read Bolaño, and it's such a cool story in a sense that you combine all of these thematic ideas in a way that just makes in a way that makes sense. Because like it wants to tell this story about how Latin American literature was essentially this proverbial weapon, a way to reclaim the legacy of the Latino people from, the colonizers and what have you, the shards of a fractured past. But then war and dictatorships and rebellions and all of this shit ravaged like every single fucking country in that area, and writers were being killed en masse and their works were being burned. And it's like, why even bother? What's the point of writing? What's the point of literature? And I think ultimately this chapter kind of wants to make it a point that it's what we write because of what came before us, to preserve and honor the people and the places and the ideas that have inspired us and that have led us to keep going. It's like like Aleph for a long time was my favorite character in this game because of his design and Kyle Colton's performance and all of the like, and obviously UA overtook him, but I still really do like him because of how he fits into that, because he was like uh this Foucaultian figure where like he's the smartest man alive, but he's too smart in the sense that he no longer has any emotions. He's just kind of this infinite well of knowledge. And one of Foucault's main ideas was that there's no such thing as a transcendental truth, which is something Aleph is searching for, because truth is decided by those with power, based on the ever expanding knowledge humanity collectively achieves. And so, nothing can ever be transcendent unless it is complete. And Aleph kind of like he tried to help Recoleta complete uh the rise and fall of sanity, because he thought by completing this novel, because he already knew Recoleta was a character. He already knew this. So by completing that novel, he would find something that transcended reality. But Recoleta doesn't do that. She decides to refuse. She decides to step back into the real world with all of its with all of its pain and suffering and all of the cruel indifference of the universe. She steps back. She does not choose to rest, because literature isn't supposed to transcend, to her at least. It's not supposed to transcend anything. It's meant to be the purest reflection of the human condition, and the human condition, pain is inherent to the human condition. So ultimately, Recoleta is kind of this love letter to the world, and I find that so beautiful. They're ultimately trying to get across like why they love these works that they incorporate, because literature is like it can be 1,000 different things to 1,000 different people, but in the end it's us, it's humanity. It's probably the most heartfelt message they've ever written. But I don't know, what do you guys think? High 7.5 or low 5? Like this is in a top. This is top 3 main story chapters,
Ah,
or this might be top
this
3
is
main story chapters for me.
I-75.
So it's up to you where you
Yeah,
want to count it.
I-75.
I first played this during 2.8, so I was kind of on the clear drop grind. So I really need to go back and play it for myself now that I had the time to just like soak it all in for what it's actually trying to do.
So high 4.75.
Yeah,
High 75.
Bet. Okay, now we're kind of not to be mean, but we're kind of taking a little dip with the collab
yeah.
stories. Um,
Yep,
I must
yep.
say I actually really liked Ezio's. I did. I even though I've never played
Definitely.
Assassin's Creed 2, I'm still obviously familiar with Ezio and his story because like he's a gaming icon. It'd be kind of crazy if I didn't know. So I thought it was cool. I think there definitely is a message there about art. It's basically Folier's same message, just in a very just in a is expressed in a far inferior manner, without all of the super nuanced thematic depth that Folier incorporates, because obviously it's a collab story, right? It has to be fucking Assassin's Creed first, right? So
Yeah, they had to kind
um
of like dumb it down a bit just to not immerse itself in the lore too much.
but I thought it was a cool addition to the mythos. It's awesome that they got Leonardo's original actor back, and I thought they did a pretty fun job with incorporating the characters in that world. Like Sotheby being like a noble woman, a nobleman's daughter, and all of that. Uh, and I like in the end how he essentially got his own form of he got a form of closure. That obviously he does get them in other games, but like at this point in time, right, this
Mhm.
is him kind of coming to peace with that, and it's cool. I liked it. It was a nice little romp in the world. It certainly paid more tribute to the franchise than like anything Ubisoft has done for its own fucking franchise in
Oh,
the last
you,
fucking five,
you
ten
don't want to get me
years.
started on Ubisoft and what they've done to Assassin's Creed. I could go on like a 2 hour tirade about modern Assassin's Creed. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
yeah, I really like this story a lot. Uh, especially since this was about Ezio, who to this day is like the strongest character to come out of Assassin's Creed as a franchise. This is Assassin's Creed 2 Ezio, so he's still very young. He still is like on his path of vengeance against the Borgias, which are responsible for the death of his family. So he's very much taken up the mantle of assassin due to his crusade. He hasn't quite gotten to the point of where he's becoming a leader. So his closure in this chapter of like being able to mentally feel closer to his family again was a very good note to end on for this Ezio who hasn't quite fully matured yet. I like this a lot, and I'm a big fan of the Renaissance in general and any kind of cultural aspect. So being able to go to back to like Venice and Florence and all of those places was a very fun detour.
yeah. So what would we put it at? Like a 3.5, 3.7, 3.5, 3.25, or like around this little range?
Yeah, like in between Triste's Tropiques and Morponk, in my opinion.
That's a good spot to put it. I agree with that. Oh man, this is gonna be an
Hmm.
unfortunate one. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, this one is not as good.
I think this might be the second Moxley. I cannot lie to you.
Yeah, it's not. It's very bland.
Drama in Athens is very mid. I was kind of disappointed that I was kind of disappointed that I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about Odyssey. Maybe it just in general has a weaker story than 2, because from what I know about modern Assassin's Creed, the story took a fucking fall off a cliff. Like Alexios, I heard wasn't even actually supposed to exist. Like Cassandra was meant to be the main character, but then Ubisoft was like, well, actually, we can't have a girl be the main protagonist, so they added in Alexios. Like, that's from what I know at least. That like in
Basically,
general, that's so insane, bro.
when you start Odyssey, you have the choice to either pick Alexios or Cassandra. Basically, do you want to be a boy or a girl? It's the Pokemon choice.
Yeah.
And Cassandra is like the canon choice, but whoever you don't pick ends up becoming Demos, who's like the main villain of the whole game. So canonically, Alexios is Demos, but you can like switch it around if you want.
Yeah, I don't I again, I know I haven't played Odyssey. I don't know how strong the story is compared to the other AC games. I'm guessing it's weaker because from what I know, just in general, the storytelling quality has dipped a lot. But I don't know. Unfortunately, this did not really get me that interested in actually playing the game, other than aside, like this is the only one out of the three they've done. Like AC2 and Atomic Heart both actively made me want to like try out the actual game. This did
Yeah,
not, even
no.
without the preconceived, like even without the knowledge I already had of how shit modern AC is because of Ubisoft's idiocy. Like throw all of that out the window, I still didn't get that much of a vibe from this one. It just kind of happens. Like Cassandra and Alexio, excuse me, Cassandra and Alexios have their fight, and then like he just dips, and then Cassandra's like, "What the fuck? Well, I guess we'll see each other again someday." And then Regulus
It
just doesn't
feels like a
do
cartoon
anything.
episode.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like it's just kind of a monster of the week sort of thing. Like, and the actual reverse characters themselves don't really do anything, and they kind of shoehorn in character like who the fuck was that bard girl? Did she ever? I like looked her up, and she isn't in the actual Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like they just kind of made up a fucking character
No.
instead of
Yeah.
actually giving, characters in the game something to do, like they did with
Uh, They had
Leonardo.
a few. They had a few options there too, because it's in ancient Greece, so it's obviously on the coastline. So Cassandra has like a whole crew and stuff, and I'm trying to remember the name of her first mate. Um,
I might have to
but
look it
you
up.
could, yeah, you could have easily like put him in there instead. Um,
Yeah, like it's honestly for me, it's probably the worst story this game's ever done. I just I don't feel it's Kazuchika Okada. I don't feel anything. Which I mean,
yeah,
it's better than being actively ass, but it's still like I don't care.
Herodotus. So they could have put him in there instead of the bored girl, and you would have had like a built-in dynamic for Cassandra to go off of. But they just didn't do that. The one highlight I do remember was Verton doing the leap of faith, which I thought was a good moment, but
Yeah,
it
that
did
was
feel
cool.
very much like fan service. Like, oh, it's Assassin's Creed. They
Yeah,
did a
look at
leap of
that.
faith.
Yeah. They
Whoa!
did the hay thing. That was cool. I mean, shit, it was done better in the Ezio story when when
Yeah,
Ezio took her
yeah.
and did the leap of faith into the haystack. Like it was done better in the story before it. So, yeah.
It is really not a whole lot. There's really no reason to go back and play it.
Yeah. Okay, Paradise Regained. So, no, I did the same joke twice. I'm running out of material. Okay, dude, dude.
Where to start? Like, there's just so
Fuck,
much to talk about.
fucking hell. Okay, I already spoiled it before, but yes, 1987 Cosmic Overture is the greatest story in Reverse 99 history, and it honestly, like, I'm not gonna say it's not even close because it is close. I mean, look at the other three in the same tier, but bro, this is literally this is everything again, everything is at peak condition. There's not a single flaw. All of the characters are fantastic. The story is perfect. The themes are incredible. Just in general, it is like it was like the perfect like event to like end the 2.x series on. Like I
Yeah.
I made a whole fucking 1 hour video as to what comparing it to one of the greatest comics of all time in Watchmen, and then making the very heavy claim that Cosmic Overture actually has a better thematic grasp than Watchmen does, and has a more optimistic outlook on the same ideas that they were tackling, and as a result is a, I guess you could say, better story. Like, if that doesn't tell you what I think of this, if he does, it doesn't tell you how highly I regard this fucking stellar story, then I honestly don't know what does. Like this is the, like, honestly, if there's one, if I have to pick one, even Chinatown, if I have to pick one story to break the Melter star scale rating and give this a clean little 6, it would be this one. Like I can't speak highly of it enough. I really can't. I
Absolutely.
really fucking can't. It's just a masterpiece in every single way.
I got kind of spoiled when I first started playing because this was the very first update that I played on. So I got the best story in the history of the game as my first event, and it was like mind-boggling. It was like, whoa, what is going on? And when I saw the elevator pitch for the plot, there's a storm that whenever it comes around, it reverses everyone and basically kills them. I was thinking, oh, how could this be incorporated into, like, what kind of conflict could this result in? Cosmic Overture is like the pinnacle of what I thought that could be, because there is no madness in this story at all. The antagonist is the storm, and how everyone at Plessis is running out of time to get into space to research the storm. And that race against time aspect of it is really what sold me on it, because it's like there's really no reason to keep doing this, but they do it because, like, if they don't, no one else will. Like, we need to know how the storm works so we can try to stop it, and if we don't do this now, it's never going to happen again. It's like Rogue One.
It's a
It's the
great
rebels
comparison.
stealing the Death Star plans so they can figure out how to destroy it. It's a similar idea with the storm. They have to figure out how it works, how far its range goes. Like, at the very end, we see it, like, it affects, like, space. So it very well could, like, affect the entire universe, which is a terrifying concept, that you could be trillions of miles away from Earth and you could still feel the effects of the storm in some way. But yeah, it keeps getting better the more I think about it. I love it so much.
Um, Hyperina is my second favorite character in this game. Uh, I wrote a whole paragraph about her here. She's just awesome. She means a lot to me. But the more important thing is Hi Elizabeth. Cosmic Overture is great.
You're
And yeah.
fat.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. There really isn't, the character writing just does not get better than this. Like, every single character has to face something about themselves that they've long been neglecting or just otherwise unwilling to confront. Every single one of them changes in a tangible way. Every single one of them experiences closure in in a satisfying manner. There isn't a single one who's left out. We get to see all of their struggles laid out on the table. And and again, it has one of the most hopeful messages in the entire game, and that is the message of 1987 Cosmic Trophy is the message of Reverse 1999, the unity, that choosing each other in the face of destruction is what will save everybody, even if we don't technically quote unquote survive, right? That this every like if you want a genuine understanding of what this game wants to say, it is this story you play. And I think that is why it is the best one they've ever done. Now, on to Paradise Regain, a storm you might want to deafen because this one's pretty important. You'll have to deafen for the
This
next
is
two
one of
at
my
least until midnight.
personal favorite chapters.
Paradise Regained is great. I I must say, like, I was not I was okay. I'm not gonna say I wasn't expecting much out of it, uh given it was an anniversary chapter, but like after what came before, it's like,
Yeah, it's
I
like, how
mean,
do you
how do
top
you
that?
top that? Yeah. But damn if they didn't do a good fucking job. Because if there's one thing this game does, it's make you feel. And I think personally, other than even better than all of the actual horror-based chapter, this is the scariest chapter in the game. Like, and when you look at the like active horror elements and you incorporate them and you like
Absolutely.
measure them across all the chapters, even the actual horror chapters, this is the most terrifying chapter in the game. Like the body horror elements are just fucking visceral. The horrific downfall of Nautica's team and the realization that the black algae she had been eating were the remains of her team and the others killed by the Manus as sacrifices, effectively making her an unwitting cannibal. Like, it is just so fucking terrible, even without many real visual depictions of the like actual gore itself, because the reactions of the characters are just so telling. And man, Nautica, bro, like I don't have her in like my, actually no, she is in my top 10 favorite characters in this game because honestly, I don't think there's a better story in this game that has introduced a character and then completed their arc in the same chapter. Nautica just has such a
Yeah.
fantastic arc. It is so good. The not the literal and figurative rebirth that she goes through. The the fucking it has to be one of the most emotional arcs of the story yet from a not team timekeeper character. Like her struggle with upholding her legacy of the Amundsons, the truth about her faith, the constant strive to get her confidence back after she fucking watched everyone around her die at the hands of the Manus and fucking ate them to survive. Like she was easily one of the most easy to root for characters, and like it's part of like it was her reaction to that, like her vomiting and like screaming in terror and like everything that was also helped to make the horror elements really pop more. And like all the flowers in the fucking world to Sonia Kruger because she sold everything. I don't think Nautica would like even be in the top 20 if it weren't for her performance. Seriously, she's so fucking good. Like everything about it, just fucking fantastic. And the her sacrifice in was it chapter 18 to a Skylark? I think that's what it was called. It's in my Rushmore. It is.
Yeah.
It is, in
Yeah.
my opinion, one of the greatest character moments this game has ever done. It's a genuine fucking triumph. Like for her and for us, it culminates this arc because it's not just her faith, but her unwavering desire to explore the unknown. She becomes one with the Mother Spirit. She ascends to a state of self-actualization that literally saves her from the jaws of death. And her theme, the what's her theme called? Blooming from the Thaw, that we heard earlier when we were watching AID. It's in my opinion one of the best tracks in the game's entire soundtrack. Like legit, I had that song playing when remember when I showed you guys pictures when it was snowing in Tokyo and I experienced snow falling for the first time. That was the song that I decided to play in my headphones when I was walking throughout that snow because it just felt so fitting. Because to me, previously, snow was completely unknown to me. Uh, and in that moment, I was chasing the glorious unknown, as she says. Like this chapter's so fucking good. This is easy 4.75. Okay, yeah. Oof. Now we're finally done with the 2.x series, and we're on to 3. And
Hmm.
honestly, just looking at this lineup, this is probably the strongest set of stories they've ever come out with.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like, just look at this fucking lineup. And we're starting it off with a long, long way. And man, I think this is a 5. I think this is a 5.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is a clean, actually not even, I wouldn't even see clean. This is the ugliest, most raw 5 out of maybe since else. Genuinely. Like, fuck, bro. The just everything about it is so sensual. The fucking war and the pain and the suffering and the pointlessness of it all and the hopelessness and the like just everything about this story is so good, and it all boils down to the fucking atmosphere. Like there is just this sense of dread and melancholy that blankets everything in this chapter, and every character like it's a main story chapter, but it's written like an event story. Like these characters are fleshed out in
Yeah.
that same chapter, like Sentinel, Marsha, Charon. Like you, like the that's the Trinity essentially, where like you really see and you really feel for them in their journey. More so Sentinel and Charon, of course, because Marsha she's kind of just there, but she's fleshed out enough to actually actively make an impact. And obviously Marie is the heart and core of this chapter, and the religious imagery that they use with her, I absolutely fucking loved. As someone who like grew up Catholic, the amount of respect that they gave her story and the allusions to Jesus himself, obviously Joan of Arc, the the fucking mirrors to stories in the Bible, the there's just so much fucking respect for that. I guess you could call it source material that went into Marie, and how she is just this true anchoring of everything that came before her, this messianic figure who has subjected herself to carrying the sins of thousands. If somebody has to kill thousands to save millions, it might as well be me, even if I'm damned forever. Right? She's taken on that burden. She's taking on this Christ-like burden for herself after she was essentially forsaken by her country, the way Joan of Arc was. And fuck, man, it's just so damn good. And Charon, that Charon's just just he probably has some of the best written monologues in probably the entire game. Like you just feel terrible whenever you hear him speak. And his the scene where he shows Eberhard the under the veil, just a great fucking scene. Just it's
Literally staring into the face of death.
yeah, it's terrifying. Not in the same way Paradise is, but it's terrifying on a bit of an existential level, because like this isn't the man we knew. This is literally death himself. Like the fucking personification of the pointless, worthless suffering that all of these fallen soldiers had experienced, all condensed into this one being inhabiting the corpse of another fallen soldier, and then taking on the name of Charon, the ferryman of the river Styx, bringing people to Hades. It's just so well done. Like, I don't think this is probably the saddest chapter in the game, honestly. It's fucking soul crushing, but I mean that's kind of what you have to do, right? This is war. War is pointless. War is terrible. And you know what? There's actually this really funny story. You guys are both in a Period Night server. He's talked about this before, but there was this one dude who wrote like a 30-page Google Doc as to why this is actually a war good chapter. And it's like,
Oh,
did we
brother.
watch the same fucking thing? What the fuck are we doing? Huh? Like I haven't read it myself. I'll probably like DM him later and ask him if he still has it because I do really want to read it just to see what it fucking says. But I genuinely don't know how you look at the most war bad thing of all time and think it means war good. I mean, fuck, dude. If you'd actually have to be trying to be stupid, but I don't know,
The
man.
core conflict of the chapter is the man is like manipulating both the French and the German military to keep the war going, just to cause more chaos and death. I don't know how you can get more war bad than that.
Yeah, and I mean it's so fucking ridiculous, but for a fandom that for a game that has so much literature just ingrained into every part of it, the fandom sure doesn't know how to read, man. It's insanity. But we've established that this is peak. So now let's move on to Midnight Whistle. I am I mean, I'm gonna be honest. This chapter honestly got a little bit worse on rewatch. Not that it was bad before. Not that it's bad, but like I kind of found myself liking it a little less when I rewatched it because it might have had to do with the environment in which I watched it. I I watched this story at like fucking 2 a.m. Like I went through the whole thing in the dead of night. Like I wasn't intending to, but
Oh,
obviously like the reverse update started late, right, at like 10:30. So by the time I had
yeah.
finished the Midnight Whistle, it was like it was almost 4 a.m. And I think that actually really contributed to the atmosphere of the actual story itself,
Yeah.
which is kind of why it fell a little when I rewatched it. But dude, this story is still really fucking good. Like really good. I have no
It
major qualms with it really.
it's still, I'm fairly certain it's still top five events for me. I love it a lot.
Like I guess one of my big things is that I feel like Corvus kind of gets the shaft. Not in the sense that
Yeah.
she just doesn't really get to do we don't really get to see that much of her story as compared to Rubuska's. Even though
She doesn't
Buska's
have too much agency.
yeah, like you get most of it in her character story, which I mean makes sense, duh. But I feel like she could have her and Pyros both could have done more. I really like them both as characters, and I thought Pyros was a great villain, but I feel like there was a lot more that they could go with. But if we're gonna judge reverse stories purely on their main characters, flowing on like their main like their protagonist, like their hard protagonist. No one, just one.
Hmm.
They're just their one main character. No one else. Robuska is a top. Robuska alone puts it at top three. Like
Yeah.
Robuska is just such a great character, just an amazing fucking character. It like the twist that she wasn't actually a vampire, I did not see coming at all. Like I cannot hold you.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that shit. And how it fits into the obvious themes of A Long Long Way and the tragedy of war and how it separated her from her parents and like her whole family's dead except her, right? So and like her using the legends of the vampires the stories that her mom told her as a kind of coping mechanism and because it just so happened to like coincide with her superpowers. Like just everything about her is so fucking great. Like and obviously the other characters are the main way we see the other characters and what they are about is through their interactions with her. Like her interactions with Corvus tell us about her. Her interactions with Ima tell us about her. Her interactions with Semmelweis tell us about how she was operating before she got, bit by Valentina and turned into a vamp. Miss, I'll never work with vampires again. Yeah, who's gonna tell her, right?
Does she know?
Does she know? Uh, but just in general, Robuska just has this. She just has such a great arc. There's such a visceral tragedy about her that just makes her a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to root for. And like we obviously cannot move on without mentioning her being a top five promo in the game, one of the realest workers in the
This is
business.
true.
She literally worked the crowd. She literally the Mark Henry salmon jacket. I made a whole short about how she literally that's literally what she did, bro. She fucking worked the crowd. She stuck with the gimmick and she lived the gimmick. She kept kayfabe alive. She cut like five great promos in this one chapter alone. It was the witness's testimony, blood of my blood, and I am a real vampire. Like so many she has so many great promos across this entire story. Like you throw this lady in a fucking Jim Crockett Promotions fucking territory backstage. Give her the mic and she'll go the fuck off. Like Ric Flair don't got shit on Big Booska. It's crazy work, bro. And like I obviously like I have to give as a result, I have to give so many flowers to Josette Halpert, Laruska's voice actor, because my God, did she just sell everything? Like she's the real worker here. Like really, just such a great performance for a character who, honestly, like a lot of what's great about Robuska does hinge on on her performance. So like to give it your all like she did, I have to give her so many flowers for that. This is an easy 4.5.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think I have this on my top three events. I think only because it's probably the first event I played in full, and like I really enjoyed the story and the characters, especially with you guys, so what you guys said about Rebuska and stuff, and I think she's like top three personal characters of mine because I just love her love everything about her and stuff, and I'm just waiting until when it gets a rerun in the future, hopefully.
Yes,
That's true.
It will rerun during 3.8 during temporal scale, which is I'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Ooh.
I'll get to that. And I won't spoil anything, obviously, but I'll get to it when we're nearing the end. But yeah, the hits keep on coming. I don't think it's
Speaking of which,
I think it's kind of clear that that a
yeah,
flowing feast
this
is
is my
a
this is my number two
ridiculously
story.
sexy fiver.
Yes.
I don't think there's any man. You When I first watched this story on CN and I wrote my review on it, on my now unfortunately kind of dead Substack now that I have my YouTube channel, I said that Adele Tavernier was the most I have loved a character and connected to a character since UA. And like, you know how crazy that is, right? And I absolutely knew that you guys would just love this story because I was this shit had me like fucking jumping and screaming. Like the mystery elements and the fucking plot twists and everything. Like back when I lived at my old apartment in my old Tokyo apartment before I moved into the one I currently live in, like one of my classmates was one of my neighbors, and he heard me during the twist that Felician killed Celia. I was like losing my shit, and he DM'd me on Instagram. He's like, "Are you okay? What the fuck happened?" So I had to tell him I'm okay. I'm just playing a video game. Like this story was just such a fucking mind fuck, bro. Everything like they did the mystery elements so well. They incorporated a lot of the crazy elements of the mystery story of like a jewel hunter story, like an Indiana Jones-esque super adventure. And combined it with like the crazy like Bo-Niche storyline that we had been seeing before, like at the end of Showdown in Chinatown where Beryl showed up. We kind of get like we know what she looks like, what her kind of like uh motivations are, and we've come to find out that she's like so fucking entrenched in her future seeing abilities that like everything just blurs together and she kind of doesn't really see herself as a human anymore. She's kind of like this pseudo god who sees everything and but she can't really do anything about it. And the way they kind of incorporated that into the themes of the story and like choosing your own way, it's just so fucking well done because in the end like Beryl does ultimately decide to like I guess be born quote unquote for the first time, like become an actual like human. Like now that the storm has fucked up the way she sees fate, it's not really chaining her anymore. And in a way the storm is the best thing to ever happen to her. But then you have a character like Adele, who I genuinely believe is one of the best characters this game's ever put out as as a full furnished finished product. Like it is just so damn well done. The the Jungian machinations and the connections to classical psychology while also being this reluctant here. Like I made like that was my first Adele's video was my first video ever. Like I hold such a special place in my heart for her because my video about her was the first like reverse video I ever actually made and was kind of the thing that got me started because of how much I admire the connections to the to Hemingway and who is an author I deeply admire. And it's just, man, this story is just so damn well done. I can't like the aesthetic and everything. Like the soundtrack to this one is one of the best. Like Taxi Jam, Brilliant Iridescence, Under the Paris Sky, like so many great fucking tracks. The aesthetic is awesome. Just in general, this is for me. This is an easy five. This is still number three on my top three. It's Cosmic, Chinatown, this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can't believe it's I can't can you believe that? Like it's rerunning soon on CN and it's like it seems like just yesterday we were watching the CN stream for it. Like we were freaking out over the Isolde skin and all that shit. Like so much time has passed. It's honestly nuts. And I mean shit, bro. 4.0 is coming up. We're about to get a fucking unique barrel skin. Like imagine
Oh,
what that shit's gonna look like, bro. Holy
you
fuck.
have you have no idea how badly I need it to be part of the tarot card series because there's yet to be a Wheel of Fortune skin, and Beryl fits that card perfectly.
Oh my
I need
god.
it so bad.
So something I predicted in a previous stream is like if we're really leaning into the British Arthurian like the British mythology, like we can take an Arthurian turn with Beryl and have her be the Lady of the Lake. Like not the painting, but like the actual
Mm,
Arthurian Lady of the Lake. I think that would fit so
yeah.
well because of the whole uh the aesthetic of the streams of fate, the river of fate that she's always talking about. Like there's this aesthetic motif of her and water uh kind of symbolically representing the flow of time. And I think that would just be such a great like I think both of those ideas, the Wheel of Fortune and that are both great, but I would love to I wouldn't be surprised if they went along that route because it seems to be leading more into that mythological aspect that they're super pushing, obviously like with Rhea being named after Welsh stuff. Like I would love to see something like that happen. And I can't end this without basking in my glorious fucking victory. This this is the greatest victory lap I have ever taken in manifesting an Adele swimsuit skin for her first ever garment. I cannot go past that without celebrating this momentous victory. It is so fucking it is the greatest thing, bro. I cannot believe that I managed to make this happen somehow. It's like they saw it. It's like they personally saw it. It is so peak. We should really have a separate tier for 4.75. I mean, honestly, like I think the most of them are going to be in the high 4.5 anyway, and that's pretty obvious 4.75.
Yeah.
So I don't like mind, it being super. I don't really want to create a whole other tier now when we're already in the middle of this. But yeah, I mean if you're leaving, you can always just watch the stream. Uh, Storm, you might want to deafen again because we're about to go into campaign's tale. Um, I must say, I do think this is a 5-2.
Mm,
I'm a be honest. Like again, like as a actual story on its own, I don't think it's a 5. But when you actually look at the ramifications that not just the ramifications that it has on future stories, but this is kind of like a mini finale in and of itself. It's kind of like an Age of
Yeah.
Ultron-esque thing, where like a lot of plot points once again come together and result in this really beautiful, like I just love the world building in this game, because and one of the main and Campaign's Tale really highlighted the main reason that I love it, and I can't talk, it's interconnectivity, right? It's like I've been comparing it to the MCU like a lot lately. Maybe it's just because I watched Brand New Day and I have like Marvel fever on the mind again. I honestly kind of
This
miss
is
that because
true.
it's been such a long time since I've had Marvel fever, and it's like greeting an old friend. But it's the every how everything connects together. How Igor betraying Zeno is what led to the internal collapse and is what led to the creation of the Hawks and the Doves, and as a result is affecting Laplace and other areas of the Foundation, like the Arcanum Containment Department, which we already know got raided by Scott and Chinatown because Beryl mindfucked her, and it's like it all loops in together, and it's just so fucking awesome. We get big lore reveals, we get fucking huge bombshells, but like other than all of that, there are some of the strongest character moments in the entire, probably honestly in the entire 3.x series. Like Lilia confronting Igor, Vertin meeting
Hmm.
Erdogan, Marcia and the children in the hospital. Like some of these moments are just so fucking incredible. Like there's man, like you this it was this chapter that really cemented Igor as a top 5 character for me, because he is such a tragic character in that he felt like he had to do what he had to do. And it stings. It really does sting because like obviously with Lopera and the tragedy surrounding her, and we still don't know why. And Ivan and Sabina and the other Xeno people who were like affected by his betrayal and now essentially have a stain on their name because of him. But ultimately, he did it because he really needed to. He needed to turn the Vertin against the Pax House. He needed to make sure that Vertin got her hands on the boon. Like he basically he saw no other option other than this. This was like the last, like it was foreshadowed all the way in back in Tristes when he did the dice roll and all of the dice were loaded and all of them landed on Snake Eyes. Like he did not want to do this, but he had to. It was the only way. And that's what I think. Like Igor turning face effectively had the same effect that Roman did, just executed so much better, because all of the characters in it have completely understandable, completely logical reasons for reacting the way they did to his face turn, and it kind of creates this interconnected net where all of the, I guess, proverbial baby faces, uh, have respond to each other regarding him or not regarding him, but because of that animosity due to him, like the dynamics change, and it's just so fucking well done, man. It's so fantastic. I think as again as a standalone story, I think it's like a 4.5. But when you actually look at the bigger picture and what it means for the reverse's wider world, it's absolutely a 5.
Yeah, it's just so interconnected with everything, and it does a great job at building up the more recent characters that we've seen, like with Meryl being like the big showcase. Charon's back. So is Marcia. But even like with older characters, like I wrote a whole mini essay on Lilia and like how this was like her big spotlight chapter.
Yep.
We got a little bit in Tristes Tropiques and Haunted Highway, but this was like from like the beginning to the end. Lilia is like in the middle of that conflict, and she's the one that's the most scorned, the most like upset by what Igor
Yeah.
did. She has like the most violent reaction towards it.
And it's understandable perfectly because Lilia, like, from what we know of her as a character, she could she could not give less of a fuck about like internal politics and stuff like that. She is a Xeno soldier through and through. Like the loyalty and the brotherhood, that's what came first. That was what was most important to her. So Igor throwing that all away to side with the Manus, like regardless of pragmatism or intention or whatever the fuck, even if all her friends are willing, even if all her friends, Vertin, Sonetto, Ivan, even if everyone she knew was willing to work with him, she will never, well, not never work with him, but she will never, forgive him for what he's done because of the stain he brought onto like the name of the organization that she holds so close. And like this is like the first time we really see this human side of her, uh, as compared to the prior stories where she's just kind of there to be sexy and drink vodka for no reason.
Yeah,
But
she's there to be an alcoholic.
but the fact that I don't think it's any coincidence that we got her new model and her new outfit like right as this big turning point for her character happened. Like I would not be surprised if we
Yeah.
got an alternate version of her, or like similar to like Honkai Star Rail did this thing with their character March 7th where they like where if you have the character already, she can like switch between different styles and as a result have a different moveset with a different element, which is essentially HSR as a Flatus. Uh, but like
Interesting.
you still have the same, it's still the same, you still have the same stats and all that, but like it's this very interesting like switch up. And I would not be surprised if they did something like that with Lily in the near future, given they gave her an entirely new model. Like usually when they give people new models, it's like kind of telling of what will happen in the future. Like they recently gave Paravian Beagle a new model for On Another Sorrow. I would not be surprised if he becomes playable. But yeah, I think this is a very nice five. Okay, now we're moving on to Big Spring Unending. And again, I think this is also another 4.5. I thought the story was
Yeah.
great. I mean, after the previous Chinese New Year story, I was very eager to see how they would essentially try to follow that up, and I was very surprised to find that they took a super like wuxia, super in the past approach, where like this is like super far back. Like this isn't even in the 90s anymore. Like this is so goddamn far back. It's not even the 1900s. And I was wondering how they were going to do that. And I think what they ended up doing was incredibly cool. And the way that they kind of made this huge, sprawling picture of immortality. Like when I first went into this, I was assuming it would be a story about like the pain of immortality and what have you, but like I don't think it's about that, really. Like I think ultimately it's about the cycle of time, old turning into new. Like the more things change, the more they stay the same. Like the never-ending cycle of it all. And one of my like I remember watching this for the first time, and Chung became one of my absolute favorite characters because I just loved he was like he was like the perfect broken hero where like he kind of works on and perfects what ailed Joe in her story, and then combined it with with a bit of Yue, and and as a result it created this excellent fusion where he is searching for something that he ultimately is not really good for him. And I think he ultimately realizes that when he discovers that Commander Lee was working with Ren this entire time, he forsakes his title and he forsakes the quote unquote honor that he is meant to uphold. He says that I'm a bandit and I always will be because I'd rather be a bandit than seek this quote unquote honor if it means, immersing oneself into evil. And I thought that was fucking absolutely incredible. Like they perfected the formula they had already established and made this character a more mature yet also a more endearing version. Because Chung's like take all of that shit out. Like Chung's like a really nice guy. Like actively like brings fish to the market. He gets flustered when he's complimented. He talks highly of his soldiers. He's just a really nice dude. So it's like you know that he's like ultimately in the end he's as human as the rest of us. He's not the invincible chief. And I absolutely thought he was the heart of the chapter, even though Heron was the limited. Even though Heron is a great character too, I really liked her. I really liked her realizing that her immortality was not what was numbing her, but instead her grief and her regret, and ultimately how she had to move on from that, how she had to move on from the school and the sword, because ultimately it's like what she said, a sword is just a sword, and the lives of people matter more than that. And in the end, she becomes content again. She's happy journeying the world and just being the traveling Taoist that helps people on her way. It's it's a comforting story, I would say. I quite liked it too because even Reed has her own little moment of, well, I even though I may die, that's okay with me. And nothing lasts forever. I want to live, but if I don't have that long to live, then I will live with everything I've got. And that's in a story like Reverse, where like everyone's on edge all the time and death is always lurking around the corner. I think that's a really huge optimistic message to give. So I would put it in the 4.75 range, honestly.
Yeah, it's top five for me. Uh, a lot of stories about immortality are always like, oh, it's overrated. You don't need it. It causes more pain than
Yes.
regular life is. But here it's like almost kind of indifferent about it. Like Heron, she is immortal, but she doesn't really think about it a whole lot. She just kind of goes on living. Whereas everyone else, it's like, oh, I need to learn the way of immortality, and Heron is just, no, you don't. You don't need it. Just enjoy the life you have while you have it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I really enjoyed this story a lot.
it's some good
You
stuff.
have like you have Reed as like a counter to that, where she goes looking for like how to become immortal since she has such a short lifespan in the same way Mayfly does, but in the end she really learns that she doesn't need to be immortal to enjoy what she has. That every time she reincarnates, end up learning, she'll end up being able to learn stuff again for the first time. That's not a gift many people have.
Yeah. I mean, and I like how these themes ultimately continue in the next few stories. Like in Turquoise Serpent Club, which I also think is a high 4.75, which I really
Mm-hmm.
like this story, man. I like I'm gonna put aside my very sane and healthy obsession with Ramona's voice. She is such an amazing character. She's probably one of the better main characters to come out of the 3.x patches because we already saw the buddy cop dynamic in with Yue and Poitier and Showdown in Chinatown, but I thought the idea of bringing back Loggerhead was excellent because Loggerhead is one of those characters where it's like one of the main themes of this is that nothing lasts forever, and Loggerhead is like a walking example of that. Her memory literally just does not last forever. She forgets shit like all the time, and even then she has to put them on
Yeah.
film. And she's also just such a likable, endearing, fun character that putting her that like pitting another character against her and showing how that character reacts to her is a great way to tell who that character is. And I think it did wonders with Ramona because Ramona's ultimate arc is encapsulated by her relationship with Loggerhead. Like she pretends not to care. She puts on this front of I don't give a shit. I'm just an exorcist. The living are of no concern to me. Blah 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 blah. But she ultimately comes around. She protects Latham. She outright admits she considers her a friend, and I think and it's entirely indicative of her own arc, where she is essentially fighting for Mexico, even though she keeps pretending that she doesn't really care. She actively loves the city and its people, and she fights for it. She goes out of her way to solve the mystery, and in the end, Teresita, when she and Teresita kind of, I guess, meet in a way in the depths of myth, they ultimately both make the same decision to walk away, to leave Muriel and to be their own people. And man, it's just so cool to see that, because like it's a great precursor, because we finally get to see how people who react to their loved ones being stormed, and seeing that stormed person again, and just being completely unable to like separate who they once were from who they are now. It's a great precursor to that theme, because that will eventually become important in other chapters, especially in 4.x. But yeah, I love Turquoise Serpent Club. I was very excited for it coming in, and I was not disappointed. We're not gonna talk about the fraud. We're not gonna slander her too hard, because Mark
No.
unfortunately isn't here to get mad about it. But I actually
Yeah.
like, as much as I slander her, I think the fact that she is a fraud makes her a really good character. Like I love her. I love this idea of her being someone so self-absorbed that she cannot see past her own hubris, and as a result, that's her downfall. I love characters and stories like that. Like if I wasn't busy rage baiting Mark, I think Lorentz Butterfly would genuinely be like one of my, at the very least, top 15. Like she's such an like an actively compelling character, but agendas over
Definitely.
everything, so gotta push
She's
the agendas.
she has like this Machiavellian approach to everything of that like everyone is an enemy, and if you can outsmart them, you'll win, whatever that's supposed to mean. And a minor detail I really like that they put in. They didn't have to do this, but they made her colorblind. And this story is all about art and paint and
Yup,
how
yup,
different colors relate to different emotions. And Lorentz being colorblind means she can't see those colors for what they really are.
yup.
And you can't get that emotional meaning out of them.
Just fantastic COI. Like it's indicative of how she is like literally blind to the colors of life, to how art represents, our emotions, our feelings. Like it represents the best and worst of us, and Lorenz, who can't see that, who refuses to see anything other than black and white and gray, the darkness of humanity, and constantly trying to sidestep that darkness and outsmart that darkness with her own, ultimately leading to her downfall. Essentially, she loses because she refuses to see anything other than the way she sees the world, like literally and figuratively. It's fucking fantastic, like genuinely, it's so good. And like obviously that isn't it's not going to be as impactful if I didn't talk about Muriel and Anil, who are honestly two of the best NPCs that the 3.x series has released. I Muriel is such a devastating villain. Like he's like probably one of the few like actually sympathetic, like, dude, this fucking sucks, I'm so sorry for you villains in the game. Like
Yeah.
everything he, even though he did commit a lot of murders, like everything he did was just to see the girl he loved again. And like, well, we can all relate to that, right? Like that tragedy is what pushes him. And I think also the VA performances. I think, what was his? I remember his VA's name, Brennan Lopez. I think his name was, his voice actor was, sold everything, man. Like he sounds so fucking sad and tired, and it's just honestly heartbreaking to listen to, especially when he speaks Spanish. Like you can heal it, he can hear it when he speaks. You can hear the pain when he speaks Spanish, and that's something I can also attribute to Anil as well, though he's more fatigued than he is depressed. Uh, I can't remember his voice actor's name. I think it started with Nick or something, but props to him too. I think Anil is an incredible character, and honestly, out of all of them, he's the one who comes out on top. He's the one who wins the most out of all the characters in this chapter, including Ramona. Like he ultimately gets to
Yeah.
rest. He gets to find, he found peace in the uh, memories of his friends. his morals would not let him erase Ramona's agency as a person, and in that he's ultimately saved. And he decides to stop pursuing this and instead just truly rest. And obviously he's ex-Manus, so like if they need informants, he's right there, right? So it's really good stuff, man. I love Anil. Just generally, this is another part where the character writing makes the story really shine. And like, if we want another instance of that, I cannot lie. Last and First is a high 4.75. I underrated this massively when I first watched it because I thought I just wanted more. But like when I look at it, decided to look at it more as an extended character story rather than like an event
Yeah.
chapter, and
Yep.
that's where I really saw like this is fucking fantastic. Like this is everything I wanted from an Adler solo story and more. We got to see his dynamic with his workers. We got to see what Greta means to him as a person. We got to see the aftermath of like the immediate aftermath of her death. The toy box was used as essentially a way to doubt. It's essentially a big metaphor, a symbol of his psyche. Like we're basically going inside of his mind and seeing the way everything conspires in there. Like the tower being where Greta is in and Ludwig is protecting. Like this isn't the first time we've seen the tower symbology, right? Because we've seen the tower as a tarot card, and the tower essentially means like a big momentous like change in everything. Like everything about your world and your ideas, everything flips on its head. It's like this huge shift in the status quo. And I think it's really cool that they reuse that because before it was for Kakania, and that one makes sense because Kakania had to come to that realization that everything she fought for was either naive or just straight up bullshit, or, was the same ideologies being peddled by the magic Nazis. In Adler's case, it is him like he literally says it. The burden on my shoulders has been light for far too long. I need to shoulder it for everyone at the LSCC. And it was him ultimately realizing that yes, even in this, it's like what Greta said, the age of humans is over, but you can still live. Like even in this era of arcanum and magic and crazy BS happening around every corner, he can still be the man that he once was. He just needs to try, and he needs to incorporate that. And he needs to solve the puzzle as an expert cryptographer should. And yeah, it just really gives him that depth that we already knew he had. Like he was fantastic in Varen Sant, but we knew he was capable of more. We wanted to see his solo story, and we fucking got it. And all the fucking like out of everyone to give the most flowers to, it is his voice actor Kirill Mitev, because not only is he absolutely stellar, but I don't know if you know this, but he is actually the voice director of the game. So all of these
Oh
fantastic
wow.
performances and all of these incredible actors were all chosen and directed by him. And like I genuinely cannot express just how much absolute fucking talent and intelligence and wherewithal it takes to do all of that and for it to all come out this good. I genuinely can't think of a actively bad vocal performance in this game, and that's like mostly thanks to him. So like genuinely all the respect in the world to that man. He's a fucking god. Uh and like speaking of other characters, the Laplace crew, uh I mean, we all love the Laplace crew. We all love to see them again. We love seeing them back and doing their usual bickering. Ulrich being the voice of reason, Sylvie being cute, Medpock being a top tier heel, uh, Pointer and X being also cool in there as well. They did their thing, even though they weren't focused on that much. But Marcus's small appearances, she made him fucking count, bro. The eulogy and the meeting and meeting Adler at her grave where he gives her the mints, brilliant fucking stuff. Brilliant stuff. Like she made those were like what? One note a piece. She made them fucking count.
Absolutely. I said it before when I was doing my first playthrough. When the eulogy happened, I was like actually starting to tear up. That does not happen very often.
Yeah, man. I am so glad I turned around on this story, even though I wasn't really against it in the first place. Actually, you know what? I'm curious. I want to know what you think of polymerized dreams. I don't remember you actually talking about it before.
I did do my article on it, but so I came in because of the Assassin's Creed collab, and
Yeah.
like I've played most of the games like up until Shadows, basically. But here it's like the polar opposite. I like know next to nothing about Atomic Heart going into it outside of like the basic premise. So by the time I got done with it, I was like, wait a second. I actually like want to play this game now because the taste that the collab gave me was enough to win me over. And it acknowledges in the story that because this is a prequel, there's nothing that Team Timekeeper can do to like stop these events from happening. They just kind of accept it and leave. So I think with that concept in mind, that's like a perfect bridging point to play the game for yourself. And the more I delved into I did a big bit on it on the music, how
Yeah. They use the soundtrack from
how
the
the
game. It's really good too. Like I was surprised by how good the soundtrack actually was.
yeah, the twins skin is based off of Swan Lake, which is like a perfect analogy. How you have like these two different people that look exactly the same but have very different roles in the story. And then you have the excerpt from the Nutcracker, which is revealed as like is the music that P3 proposed to his wife to.
Yeah,
And
once
with
in a
both of
while.
those, yeah, with both of those being ballets by Tchaikovsky, which is a who was a Russian playwright, that like intense focus on sound and the ties that it has to memory really sold me on this universe and making me want to play the game for
Oh yeah.
myself.
And like the chirpers too. Like
Yeah.
the little clocks that literally store sound as memory, phrases and stuff like that. Like that's how Maxim hears his parents again. And I liked that even in that, like Maxim as a villain was good. To me, I liked him because he still furthered the ongoing theme of the 3.x series in not being able to move on from the past and constantly trying to, bring people back from who they once were. And I was actively like surprised. Not that I not surprised as in wow they're doing this because they did it before in Assassin's Creed with their themes with 2.x's themes of identity. But I was actively surprised that like wow they really managed to incorporate the themes of the patch series with the themes of Atomic Heart and combine it in a way that doesn't feel forced or lame. And it's just so and it was just like so well done to me. And another strength I think this has over both of the Assassin's Creed stories actually is that the other characters besides Vertin got a lot of shine. Like this is
Yes.
probably the most effective characterization I've seen out of Mesmer Jr. since her anecdote, and it is to me why she is I ranked her number one as the in the list of characters for this chapter. She is my absolute favorite out of all of them that appeared in this chapter on her arc alone. It was just it was so compelling to watch her kind of grapple with obviously this world of science and the and rationality that you'd think that she would love that stuff. I mean, Vernon and X even say it like, I think you would like this place. It's a world of science. It's like right up your alley. It's like a paid vacation. But she finds it to still be as full of insanity and craziness as any other world, even without Arcanum. Like she's forced to kind of come to the conclusion, even though she doesn't really want to admit it, that Arcanum isn't necessarily the main source, the main cause of the chaos in her world or any world really. And not only that, but like the way she's kind of like playing this like concerned wife, concerned mother role for the other two, where she's like trying to prevent them from bringing their quote unquote arcanist madness into this arcane free world, only to find it stemming from, humans. That same arcane madness that she condemns comes from humans. You have humans doing crazy bullshit, like you have fucking Sechenov cutting a woman's brain in half and putting them in two different fucking robots. I'd say that's pretty goddamn insane, right?
Yeah, the science and Arcanum are really just they're they're very much the same. They're just like different flavors of the same idea.
Yeah, they're just fucking nuts, right? And then she has to kind of choose in the end, right? Eventually, she has to choose between like the friends that she pretends not to care about, even though she very obviously does, or the world of rationality. And then when that world of rationality proves itself to be just as irrational as her world, she ultimately chooses her friends. I think that was a perfect arc for her. They nailed that shit. Like I was wondering how they were going to incorporate her and X into this story. Uh, Other than just, hey, look at these guys. They're Laplace, so they're going to be in the science lab robot story, right? They knocked it out of the park. So I would say this
Yeah.
is a very nice 3.75.
Yeah. It's
And
about the
then,
spot I'd put it.
and I guess to finish things off, because you haven't seen either of these stories, I'm just gonna outright
Yeah, I've
tell
got
you
nothing.
right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah. I mean, I fuck, bro. It's like it's the same. I guess how do I put it? Obviously, On Another Sorrow is the Infinity War, but temporal scale is essentially Captain America: The First Avenger with a cosmic overture flavoring. That's how I would
Mm,
put it. Like it's a prequel, it's a very heartfelt, authentic prequel story that obviously connects to the main lore. Obviously, it has ramifications on everything going forward. But just like Cosmic Overture, it is a grassroots scale, small stakes that feel big, character writing extravaganza, complete with a stargazing scene and all. It is so fucking good. It is everything that I like about Reverse in a chapter. It's like a mini, it's a mini Cosmic Overture, and the fact that I'm even saying that should probably clue you in as to how highly I think of this story. I love all the characters. I love Cornerstone so much. I genuinely have because of her, I have a genuine appreciation towards architecture now. Like I always thought it was like cool and interesting professional. Like my older brother is an architect, and while I've never really talked about that with him. I've never really asked him, hey, why do you, why did you choose architecture? Why is this your job of choice? I never really asked him about that because I never really knew what architecture was really, about. This story kind of gave me that appreciation that I feel like was missing from my life about the art of architecture, because it's just as much of an art as anything else, as movies, as books and what have you. And in general, it's just such a human, it's as human as a story as any, and and it carries those same themes of unity in dark times, because this is prequel stuff. This is like all the way back at the first storm ever. So this is like,
wow.
yeah, this is like the progenitor of everything coming forward, and it's just so fucking good, man. And On Another Sorrow, I mean, you're just gonna have to watch that shit for yourself. Like I said,
Yeah,
Infinity War.
I've got to like mentally prepare myself to start it.
Yeah, this is a fucking all all in, uh watch it in one go. You cannot leave off. Like you have to watch like this in one go. Like you genuinely, you cannot miss this. You cannot leave this for another day. You cannot put it aside and do something else. You can't play games in the background. This is something you have to see to believe. Like this is an event. But yeah, with that, that's our finished tier list. I think it looks glorious. I was very happy with the conversations. We have one, two, three. We have 9 ethical fivers. We have 11 in the 4.75 to 4 range. We have 7 in the 3.75 to 3.25 range. We have 5 cool little threes and 2 Moxleys. It's a nice
I
little way
feel
to
like that's a pretty good, yeah, a good little
nice little way to
distribution.
round it out. But yeah, this was great. Good to get all of our thoughts out. For anyone for anyone who tuned in to watch this, thank you for listening to us ramble. Gollum, it's like 3 a.m. for you, so you should probably get to sleep.
Yeah, it is like almost 120 right now.
Oh, so a little better, but still kind of iffy. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, thanks for watching. Gollum, we'll see you later. Thank you for staying until the end, even though it's fucking late over there. Uh, but yeah, was good stuff.
All right. Farewell.